your
our
little
1, 2, 3 clap thing that Warren just had us do.
1, 2, 3.
No, that was so much worse. We got it one
There
time.
was a delay. Hi guys, welcome back to
Splice Splatter, the film podcast presented by the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We're classic horror.
It's modern gore. I was gonna say that's my bad.
Yep.
That was my bad. I was delayed. I should know better. I did percussion for many a year, so
that tracks.
and
That
tap
tracks for
dance.
you.
So I really should have had my rhythm down on
Oh
that
my
one.
God. That's,
You know what? I'm retired.
It's giving George Michael from Arrested Development with
Yeah.
you know, the like baby talk thing that he's trained with, so that he has like a impeccable sense of time.
Oh my God!
Block.
Yes.
It's you.
Oh my God! I gotta rewatch that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh my God! The camera's further back. You guys, we have new cameras at Crispier. If you're watching,
oh look at that! No more dead pixels.
Yeah.
We've
won't
been
be
editing out the dead pixels, but on our end there have been dead pixels that we're sparing you guys.
And you've heard. I feel like if you're listening, you've never heard the camera overheat. If you've watched, you definitely see the camera overheat.
You've experienced the camera overheating.
No more, no mas.
Yeah.
But here we are. You've been back with us.
I've been back. Yeah, this is my first episode recording not in the midst of filming since finishing filming everything except for the 2 days that got snowed in.
Which you will. Oh, which you're doing. You have a fundraiser for that, right?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
I will put the link somewhere.
Yeah, we'll put it on our stories, so check out our stories. It'll be there.
There we go.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll do that.
We're in charge of that, right?
I don't know. Should I have said that? Probably not, but sorry to just throw that out there.
We want to have those 2 days happen. But yeah,
well,
you're
and
back.
also, like, it'll be fun because you'll come and visit. But
Yes.
anyway, I'm back. Or am I?
know.
Prince of Darkness is basically the movie I just made. And I didn't know that because I'd never seen this before, which is why I say I've got all kinds of things to talk about, and none of them are film facts.
Yeah, we were kind of surprised. So we're doing The Prince of Darkness and The Thing, which are both Carpenters. We're finally doing Carpenters. You're all so welcome.
Yep. It feels like you've been begging for it. I don't know if you actually have, or if it's
One
just
person.
been that we,
Some person. But yeah, I was surprised, me and Siena were talking, that you'll probably have a little bit less notes, which is wild because you were just saying that it comes after
the thing. And it's, so yours is 82, mine is 87. One would think that after The Thing had come out, everything that Carpenter does is going to be so well documented. Most of what I found was off of the commentary track from the DVD, which is like, it's something.
Yeah.
But even that was like, there were a few tidbits that then get repeated and rehashed from that commentary in every single source I found, and there was no easily accessible recent interviews from people about it. So because of that, the upside for you all is that it means there's going to be more time for Al's film, which we all know is like one of the most perfect movies of all time. Like it
truly is. Also, before I forget, if you all want to see it on the big screen, we are playing it the first weekend of December at the Jean Cocteau Cinema at jeancocteaucinema.com. Tickets are already on sale. We put those up on our very nice redone website that Siena and I worked on last week.
It was
so
all Al's ideas.
I got restless.
As usual, when things look good, it's all Al's ideas.
But yeah, so tickets are on sale for that. So come see it on the big screen because I feel like that's a fun one to see in a crowd. But
and
the
think of the cocktail potential. We're gonna have
gross.
so much fun.
We might have to buy
think
props
of the
for that
frozen
one.
blood idea. Yeah,
Frozen blood. Or we can do little congealed shots of like little bloody shots.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
We have ideas.
Hey, so King. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll
make that happen.
I will be talking a lot.
We will force that to happen.
Yeah. So you're going first, which is fitting because no, it's not fitting.
It's not fitting.
But this way, whatever. I watched them in this order. Did I watch them in this order?
Oh,
I did. I watched yours first.
I also watched mine first, but that's because I always watch mine first, no matter what we're doing.
Yeah, I flipped the script this time.
Yeah, look at that. And you said you watched both of them back to back yesterday,
I did.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Before we get into that, how are you? How are things in Al's life?
Oh my gosh. Good.
Oh my God.
I feel like it's that like end of the year burnout.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like,
one.
we've talked about it. I'm like, I'm definitely gonna take an actual holiday vacation, and by vacation I mean staying in my home.
Love that. It's the
and
best kind of vacation.
Staycations are the best sometimes. So Yeah, it's a Wednesday. We're halfway through the week.
We're
This is the
getting
fun
there.
part of the week.
This is the fun part of the week. I always look forward to podcast recording.
Yeah. We actually get to talk to each other.
I know.
But yeah, how about you?
I because I'm not recording this in the midst of filming, feel like I actually have my podcast brain back on, which
it's a nice brain to have back sometimes for these.
It really is. It feels fresh and new and smooth and
smooth
we have a nice
brain.
smooth podcast brain. Yeah, like a baby.
A newborn Siena.
A newborn baby podcasting Siena.
Oh, that's good. I'm
fresh
glad.
for season 2.
Yeah, we were a little. I don't know if anyone clocked it because I feel like it was a good episode.
Hard.
But me and you looked at each other after and we're like, did we just do that?
Yeah, we were like, did we survive that?
Yeah.
Did we make it through? Did
Yeah.
I make it through? I don't know.
Yeah. Y'all seem to like it.
Yeah.
That episode, so thumbs up for that.
I mean, to be fair, I think everybody was having a hard week the week that episode.
Getting harder.
It's just every
the
week
news is
gets a little bit harder.
It's a tough
fun. It's a
world
good
right
time.
now.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on from me asking how we're doing because that's just going to go
let's
into
actually move on to the fun
dark
stuff, which
downward
is
spiral. Yeah.
just focus on the horror movies.
Love it. Sorry, guys. Let's get back to the fun horror, not the real world horror.
We're here to distract you if you're also having a
Exactly.
weird week or burnout.
Again, who's not
Or smooth
having
brain.
a weird smooth-brained burnout week? No, there's a merch idea.
Smooth brain burnout week. Every week.
Every week. Oh my god. Okay.
Tidbits?
So, yes, I
You have
do
tids?
have. I have
Tidbits?
tids. I have bits. I have breakdowns. This film was a lot for me. Let's see. Okay, so there were, like I said, not all of them, not as many behind the scenes facts as I would have liked.
So weird.
However, this film does have one particularly notable cameo from Alice Cooper.
It's so funny when he was looking up, Trav was like, you know who that is? And I couldn't, because he was looking up, I went, Steve Carell. And then I realized how much they both look alike.
What the fuck?
He's just a crustier version of Steve Carell.
Somehow so insulting to both of them.
No, I love them both so much. It's a compliment to both.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Alice Cooper. My first Mini
so
Cooper,
funny.
my car I had was
Was
Alice
named
Cooper.
Alice? Oh
And then
my
I did
God.
Agent Dale Cooper from Twin Peaks for my second
that's
car.
really good.
Yeah,
That's
so,
really good.
love.
Have you had other Coopers or just the
No,
two?
just those two.
Do you have other Cooper names planned for the future?
No. Mini Coopers break down a lot. They're not a
Fair.
reliable
That's
car.
fair.
I gotta say. Went to the shop
You're cooped out
a lot. Yeah.
Cool.
Had two good Coopers. I'm done. On the shelf.
So
Retired.
getting back to Alice Cooper before I distract us too much, I will tell you a little bit more about how he got involved in this specific film
Oh,
later,
cool.
but
I
the
was
story
wondering.
behind how he and John Carpenter met, glorious. Glorious. Do you want to take a guess where these two, because they essentially met because of a shared interest. That's the hint. that I'll give
Smoking.
you.
Was it smoking?
No.
Oh.
No.
Chain smoking.
Very different. Alice Cooper and our director here got their first introduction at a Wrestlemania match in Detroit between Jake the Snakes Roberts and the Honky Tonk Man.
Oh my, what a sentence
Yeah.
that was.
I thought you would like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, John Carpenter
feels-
and Alice Cooper met at a Wrestlemania match.
That feels wildly fitting. I don't know if you're
Right?
aware of the wrestling verse, but it is a place that just the most random people come together and you just can bond so quickly over it.
I'm gonna be honest and gay here. My only exposure to it is through Glow. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, which I
mean,
love.
We met one of the OG Glow girls at a Comic-Con.
No.
I was dressed
Oh
as
my
Morticia when I met her, so
God.
it was a very weird photo, but she
That's
was amazing.
iconic.
Yeah.
Honestly, love that.
That's a
for
great
both of you.
introduction,
Yeah.
though. It's where the roots
I
of
have
the divas
crushes
came
on
from.
all of them.
Yeah.
All of
Yeah,
them.
that's very fitting.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
show.
Yeah, it's so good. Yeah.
God, that's so random, and I love that so much.
Isn't that great? So there's
Huh.
my
Both
little,
wrestling
little
fans.
tidbit for you. Do you have a tidbit?
I believe.
I feel like you must have a tidbit for the thing.
I know. I think I just threw a random
a thing bit. Ooh.
Oh my god. Oh gosh.
For those of you just listening, Al just opened up
I
their
did.
notes and made the most shocked, horrified face at what I can only imagine is their sheer length
Yeah.
This is
Okay.
my best guess at what's going on here.
Yeah, I did. I had to like assess my notes. Okay, so one of the tidbits I have, and I might give another tidbit because I have a feeling because you didn't have a lot of information, you might not have seen another thing. So I'm going to give you two.
Oh,
I'll give you the bit first and then the tid.
Mm-hmm.
So the bit is it has become tradition in British Antarctic research stations. Oh my god, I want to say Antarctica. I don't like saying Antarctic.
Antarctic.
Ugh,
Yeah,
I hate that.
feel like
and I have to say it so much in this.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
So it's tradition
in like an abbreviation.
Really. British Antarctic research stations to watch the thing as part of their midwinter feast and celebration held every 21st of June.
Oh my god, that's so
Yeah, so they have a little midwinter celebration. I thought that was
a midwinter
funny.
celebration in June.
Yeah, because it's reverse. I don't know.
Also,
It's
British
like,
Antarctic Research Center bars.
oh, that would
There
have
you
been.
go.
Thank you, bless.
Yeah.
And
bars.
my other one, I kind of want to say.
Say it. Say it.
Okay, I gotta.
Because I watched the thing on Amazon, which I hate Amazon, I'm sorry, but it was free on Prime. There's, the little X-ray of facts that comes up on the side, and I kept having to close it out so that I wouldn't see things
was on
from your
your
film.
Oh, fuck.
So
That's annoying.
But because of that, like, please give me tidbits.
Okay.
I was like desperate to try and avoid it for
So we'll see if you knew this.
moment.
I didn't know this because I didn't know Prince of Darkness. I remember Devin coming up to the pop-up. He was wearing a Prince of Darkness shirt. And so when we tossed up the idea for this pairing, I saw and I was like, oh, okay, I remember that. But Carpenter considers The Thing to be the first in his Apocalypse trilogy. Yes. Okay, did you have this?
Yes, I'm going to talk a little bit about it.
Oh, you are?
I want to hear what you have.
That was kind of it. I just didn't realize that. It was just like a blanket statement. I have so many notes I don't think people realize. I have 11 pages. I normally have 8 and I can barely get through them. Okay, well, I'll let you kick. Do you want to kick off with
You've
that?
just given me a really great kind of little segue into it.
Okay, I'll shut up then.
Because
notes go away. Close my booklet.
Do you have written down what the third in that trilogy
do.
is? It's Mouth of Madness. And I, first of all, love that it's called the Apocalypse Trilogy. I had to write down very Gregoraki because he has the Teenage Apocalypse Trilogy. So shout out.
Yeah.
Don't know if that was a Carpenter reference, but I'm deciding it is.
Yeah.
Also, I was curious about kind of what unites these three films.
Same.
Especially because I still haven't seen Mouth of Madness. I don't know if you have, but The Thing and Prince of Darkness are very different films.
Yeah.
They're very different films with very little seemingly in common on the surface.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna like maybe live in the same verse, but I'm like,
they really don't. They really don't. They don't. They don't
Nobody
live in the same universe like at all.
Yeah.
However, there is a lot of thematic material that they have in common, and I found this really great article from The Verge by Joshua Topolsky, where he's kind of talking about what he sees as uniting the three films, and so I brought in a little kind of film theory light quote for you. Each movie forces its characters to combat not only a visible enemy, but an unseen enemy, one which may be immune to the nature of what they believe to be reality. In fact, reality becomes a kind of warped enemy itself. But more importantly, each film's backbone is built upon a theme of cosmic horror, a genre essentially invented by the writer H.P. Lovecraft.
Oh, okay.
So,
Thank you for putting that in.
When you have it in that context, it immediately becomes clear how much these films have in common, because they really are like so much of what makes cosmic horror what it is, and we've talked about Lovecraft before on the podcast, but so much of what makes cosmic horror what it is this combination of science and religion, I think, in particular, or like this idea of using science and sci-fi technologies to explain something deep and ancient and horrifying that is either buried under the ground or in space or things like that. And so within that context, I think the ways that both of these films are about scientists fighting against their own kind of complete incapacity to understand and face this like ancient darkness much
Yeah.
bigger than them.
Yeah. It's just such a fun juxtaposition.
It really is.
Especially yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh.
Which so let's I'll start out by saying, you hinted at this a little bit. Friend of the podcast, Devin, who's been a listener for a while, has been suggesting Prince of Darkness to us on the podcast, but has also been specifically hounding me to watch it for months and months.
It's for good reason. I see now. For very good reason.
Fucking reason,
Yeah.
Devin. I get it.
Yeah.
You were right.
You all kind of nail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nail me coffin.
Yeah.
It's a
Nail
very
Me Coffin.
Siena film.
Very Siena film. I watched this with a friend and turned to said friend immediately afterwards
Oh no.
and was like, I'm going to say something very self-centered. I hope that one day somebody programs a double feature of Radon's Daughters and Prince of Darkness.
Okay, some of the set design reminded me, I was like, if you
It
would have known
was
about this, you would have
wild.
pulled that for your reference
Nobody
photos.
is going to fucking believe me
Yeah,
that I
it's-
didn't specifically
yeah.
try to recreate
The
the
greens?
dungeon from this
Yeah,
film.
yeah.
It,
It totally made me think of your set.
a fucking
Yeah, I had the same-
abandoned church with like a glowing green
Yes.
satanic
I was
crest.
like, okay, Radon's daughter.
Yeah,
Daughters.
and then there's that line about plutonium will not save you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, cool. So it's all nuclear horror too.
Just
Great.
cited as a reference.
Just fucking great. Yeah. So we're calling
really
it.
inspired
Yeah.
by it. After
Calling
the
it
fact,
canon
actually.
here. Yeah. Clearly, it's going to be an inspiration now in post. But my
It's
God,
gonna be one of those things when people talk about it, they're gonna be like, how did they not
Yeah.
know about this and pull reference from it?
everybody's going to be like, nah, Siena's lying.
Yeah, we'll have to do a
Let
double
it
feature.
be known here. This is the first time that I watched this movie.
Yeah.
And all Devin had said, because like obviously he hasn't read the script for RD. Very few
yeah.
people have who haven't like worked on it. But he knew that I was like working on a horror film about a radioactive abandoned church.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I
you
nailed
should
it.
watch Prince of Darkness. And I was like, it can't possibly have that much in common. That's like
Yeah,
a very
it's kinda wild.
oddly specific premise.
It's wild for me, and I only know like
yeah.
what 1%.
You also
probably.
haven't read the script.
Yeah.
So like
I
it's-
just know what you talked to me about, so I'm sure you were just like, yeah, you were also in a different reality of like, where am I
no,
right now?
truly. I the start of my notes is
watch notes.
Yeah, the start of my watch notes is this is all a dream. I woke up and it's September and I'm filming my pitch video on my camcorder and I go to digitize the video and all that comes out is Prince of Darkness.
Yeah,
Like
kind of wild.
yeah, that's my
I'm so
going back to the
I was like,
the
am I just
beginning.
being like, because I didn't know that much,
Yep.
but I was just like,
Even-
Siena would like kill for this set right now.
even specifically the choice of having the dreams interjected via video footage, I was like, how dare you?
Who took my brain and put this on the screen? That was actually yourself, transmitting messages to yourself via dream.
True-
so
yeah.
we do need to pinch you
This
and wake
is
you
not
up.
a dream. Which also, little tidbit, that's John Carpenter's voice doing that audio.
So
Mhm.
creepy.
Yeah, that's his little director
We get
cameo.
did we get a snap from Travis over there?
Ooh,
Yes, ma'am.
love. Yes,
sir.
yes, John Carpenter. Slay.
It's so cool. Oh, I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He loves to do a little cameo too.
He loves a little cameo, does John
Mhm.
Carpenter. Which also John Carpenter is one of those directors that lives in my head as his old self, you know? I don't know what John Carpenter in the 80s looked like, but he has the exact same giant bushy mustache that the blonde mustachio
yeah.
character does, and he's
I know,
such a clear author.
Did he have a big bushy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It must
Did he have a big
right?
bushy?
good.
You know what? It's one
Just
an episode. I
isolate-
have to say something
Just
inappropriate.
isolate that audio clip.
I also think I said bussy first. If I'm so fucking for real. So you're all welcome. It's out of the way.
If you didn't before, you did now.
we can move on.
So now whoever wants it has an audio clip
Listen,
of Al saying
guys,
pussy.
In the future, I have a tongue tie. And it's true. And I went to the dentist and it was confirmed. And I'm getting that shit. He goes, yeah, we can take care of that. We can actually laser it off.
What?
And he was, I think, 10 years younger than me, talking to me. And he was like, you millennials like lasers, right?
Oh my God, sir. My God.
Basically what he said. So one day I
mean,
won't
he's not
have
wrong.
a tired tongue that misspeaks. So enjoy while you can.
Oh, we will. We are. We do.
Moving on.
Oh my god. Good,
Anyways,
good,
I
good,
also
good.
view him the same way.
Yeah,
I feel like I
he's
don't see him young.
Yeah, no,
Even the
he's-
interviews I watched, it was just like, yeah, he's like older. And
Yeah.
fucking smoke is just swirling
Oh,
around him.
100%. And that iconic mustache, which, again.
Which I'm not going to talk about.
Great.
Yeah.
Love that. Good. So, with that context set up, how
Yes.
did you feel about this film?
So, again, I had not heard of it before.
Mhm.
The poster is atrocious, but now in a way that I appreciate.
I kind of think it slaps now.
Now I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I almost
didn't
see
get
it as
it
like a
before.
weird, like, I get it now. I don't
get
want
it
to, like,
now.
well, I
Yeah.
guess we'll probably spoil this, but,
I think this is
You're
one of those films that you can't talk about without spoilers, but I also
don't
think it's
think-
the kind of film that
you still see it.
it's so complicated that
There's a lot of shit going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, in a way I was not expecting.
Which also, I love it.
Yeah, but yeah. So I got kind of concerned at first because there's religious material and that doesn't usually like resonate.
Yeah.
But the way they kind of blended it, the ensemble cast
It's a
of people,
huge
it's
cast.
enormous.
I
The
completely lost
gore
track of
is
characters.
so fucking
It's so good.
good.
It's
It actually grossed me
so
out.
Good. Yeah.
Like grossed me
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
In a way that like Reanimator, I feel like, because I watched that for the
Yeah.
first time a couple weeks ago for Halloween, and
cool.
it kind of gave me that same like fun, campy, like
Ooh, yeah.
80s.
I was thinking
you know.
there were moments that felt very Dead Alive to me.
Yeah, like
yeah.
the stretchy skin and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, when he like puts
when
his
he like grabs the face.
Yes. Oh, it's so good. And just like drags him away.
Yeah.
Little meat sack.
Little meat sack.
I had a really good time in a way that I like wasn't expecting. So I almost feel like I need to watch it one more time to then know that I like it.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's hard for me to like appreciate it. But I was like, oh my God. I was constantly like, oh my God. Oh my God. The Bugs was great.
I can't believe this movie exists.
Yeah. It's kind of a bonkers movie. It was such a blend of I said it was like a blend of like The Exorcist, like Dead Alive.
Mhm.
There were so many
references and so many things that I now think reference this that I didn't pick up on before.
Yeah, more people need to talk about this.
Yeah.
movie. So
This-
you loved it, obviously.
What a disco! I mean, I also feel like I like absolutely cannot be objective about this film because it hits
So near,
so close to home to me. Even just like the dialogue, like again, I afterwards turned to my friend and they were like, "Did you write all of that stuff about like the like subatomic particle like stuff? Like it's
you
so
just time traveled."
It's so over the top, heady and sciencey in a way that I
It's
rarely see and
it's
very
thick.
strongly relate to.
thick material.
It's
for
thick
this one.
material, thick, gooey, viscous material, and I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I can't honestly say whether I think that it's fully successful at what it's trying to do. But
it's a little all over the place, but that's where I think the thickness just like you're like, well, it's fun.
But like I'm along for the fucking ride of
like all
of
the
it.
science of it and all the religious stuff. It was I would say for me it was really hard to follow.
It's so dense.
But you almost
you don't need it.
I'm like not because it was so dense. You're not like fact checking and being like, is there a plot hole here or this? You're kind of just like, okay, buckle up. I'm on this fucking ride. We're just gonna go forth because it also reads as like that whole room with the swirling green. Very much reads like Power Rangers to me.
Very
so
much.
there's just so much like camp and
It's very campy.
I don't know,
but also
fun.
deeply terrifying.
Yeah,
like it actually it freaked me out at moments.
What moments freaked you out?
Mainly the bugs. The bugs freaked me out. Also
the bug guy when he just his head and then the body and then the legs. I loved it. I loved that moment so much.
Also, though, just the like underwatery mirror sequences were just
the imagery was really cool.
It was less that there weren't any moments that like were jump scares for me. It just deeply got under my skin, which is what I really love in a horror movie because that's usually the stuff that sticks with me for multiple watches, and this very much felt like you said, like a movie that I need to go back and do multiple watches for, which is not something that I normally immediately feel with horror movies is like, oh, I've got to go back and rewatch that right away. I know I've told the story of like Psycho being one that did that to me when I was a little kid on a podcast. And I'm having a very similar reaction where like I finished watching the movie and immediately wanted to start it up again from the top and didn't have time to, but like, wow, is there a lot to dig into?
Yeah.
And so at the same time as I say,
bummer there's not a lot of stuff.
I know, but I do think the stuff that I did find is going to be fun. But like, I think as much as I'm not 100% convinced that it's 100% successful, it is trying so many things and touching on so many things, and so many of those things, even if they don't necessarily work together, like the whole is very much greater than the sum of its parts for me. And it's just so rich and layered that like, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Yeah, a lot going on.
Yeah, gonna stop raving about it and get into my actual notes. But yeah,
I'm glad we had a good time with it. And I knew you were going to. So
oh my god.
10 minutes in.
Well done, Devin. Thanks for the recommendation.
Yeah, keep recommendations coming.
Wow. So, and I also wanted to just, before we dive super deep in, I found a making of featurette on YouTube that's called Sympathy for the Devil. And there's a little bit in there where John Carpenter talks about, he's like, I borrowed a little bit from here, a little bit from there, a little bit from Jean Cocteau, which I wanted to shout out. So
shout out.
Because that wasn't something that immediately came to mind as a reference for me, but when you hear it, it makes sense, particularly for those like the dream sequences, the underwater mirror imagery, all of that has this very kind of like lyrical Jean Cocteau-y quality. So shout out to Jean Cocteau. We talked about the trilogy. Also just wanted to, I know sometimes I'll shout out like a weird thing about the Wikipedia pages for these movies there is, and this one is listed on Wikipedia as being a bilingual movie. In English and Latin, which I thought was really funny.
Nice.
That it has enough Latin to be listed as being partially in Latin.
That's so funny.
Just loved that. Cast. This is such an ensemble cast. I again just kind of picked a handful, but our main dude is Donald Pleasance as Priest. He's best known as Dr. Loomis from Halloween. He's also in Escape from New York. He's in You Only Live Twice. Also, this is not how he's credited in the credits for the movie, but sometimes certain versions of this film, if you put the subtitles on, credit him in the subtitles as Father Loomis, which is like
funny.
a fun little Halloween crossover
I
thought you might enjoy. Victor Wong as Professor Howard Birack.
He's my favorite.
He's so good.
He's my favorite.
And he's a longtime Carpenter collaborator. He was in Big Trouble in Little China. He was also in The Last Emperor, which is gorgeous. He was in Tremors, Joy Luck Club. And his character is probably named for Paul Dirac, who was one of the founders of quantum mechanics. So this film is also filled with little quantum mechanics and astrophysics Easter eggs, which I also love. Very up my alley. We have Jameson Parker as Brian Marsh. He's also Buddy Willard in The Bell Jar, that Sylvia Plath adaptation. And
I've never seen that adaptation. I've only read it.
I haven't either. And now I feel like I need to go watch it. Because obviously I'm a Bell Jar fanboy, as I'm sure you are as well.
Oh, yeah.
But I had to shout it out for that. He was also in this long-running series called Simon and Simon as Jack Simon, so presumably one of the Simons of the title. We also have Lisa Blount as Catherine Danforth. She was also in An Officer and a Gentleman and Cut and Run, and a little High Garden World shout-out. She was also in the GRRM written Night Flyers, which there's a poster for in our office.
Oh, funny.
Obviously, we talked about Alice Cooper, who is credited in this film as Street Schizo.
I saw that credit.
Right? He also, according to IMDb, has gone on to talk about really wanting to see a sequel made to this film, which I don't think it would be a good idea, but I love that he's so passionate passionate about it. That
he
he's
had a
like,
good time.
He had a good time, and he's like, we only got to see the anti-god's hand. We need to see the whole anti-god. And I'm like,
make a music video.
Yeah, I'm like, honey, that would be terrible.
Do a music video about it.
But I love that you're so passionate. Also, just shout out to Anne Yen as Lisa, whose wardrobe I'm unbelievably jealous of. Had to try and imitate today.
Was she the really serious one?
Yeah, really
long
serious, long black hair.
Yeah, I liked
so hot.
Yeah, I really
so hot.
Of the women, I have to say she was my favorite too. Everyone else kind of, I'm like, you can die. You gotta go. But the professor and
her. Yeah, they were the only two
I was really
lives I
bummed
cared
when
about.
she did her little, her part was actually one of the ones that got me the most. Yeah.
It was,
I live, and you're not, the typing and just the staring opposite of where you're typing actually like freaked me out.
Oh, I love it.
There's just like some weird, again, I'm learning, you've made me realize how uncanny.
Yeah.
And
I think that was a big part of what freaked me out about this film too, was the way that the zombies are portrayed, because it's like, it's not even really about, obviously towards the end we get a couple when their faces start melting, but it's mostly not even body horror. It's like this just like ghostly inability to connect with other people. That's just,
it gets me.
If
I saw a row of people just standing there
staring like
be
that,
like a little cartoon, like and like a little cloud of smoke behind me, and I would be pew, and it would just be a cloud of my like silhouette.
Same, like
could
Coyote
not
and
do
Acme
that.
style, off the cliff. Goodbye.
See you later.
Truly. So anyway, shout out to Anne Yen. Fucking love her.
Get that one. Hard get that one. Hot and great wardrobe.
So good. Cinematographer was Gary B. Kibbe. Kibbe. It's Kibbe, which is a really cute last name. This was his first features DP.
Oh, wow.
But he went on to work on 7 other Carpenter films, including They Live, Mouth of Madness, Village of the Damned, and he had just finished cam-opping for Carpenter on Big Trouble in Little China, which I thought was cute that he promoted him up from within the ranks.
I have some information. I have a really great story about that with Carpenter for The Thing, but that man, I think, loves to do that.
He loves to work with the same people over
and just
over
like
again.
give people chances.
Which like we need more of that. You might also like to know that he then went on to be the second unit photographer on Misery. So little owl tidbit.
Misery. I gotta watch that.
It's almost Misery season.
It almost is. Yeah. I'm waiting for the next Blizzard. Here again, and then I'm gonna watch
Don't let it come until after I finished filming.
What about the next couple of weeks?
Next couple of weeks is fine.
Yeah, I'm looking like immediate.
Yeah, okay,
here,
that.
And I'll say
granted
whatever I
weather.
did last time. I won't do around. Just let me know the dates in advance.
Perfect. I brought in. There are only 2 taglines to this film. And I brought them in.
Yeah.
One is bad in a not fun way, and one is bad in a very fun way.
Okay, love. Both bad though. I love that.
There are no good taglines for this film. The first one is, this is the not fun one.
Okay.
Before man walked the earth, it slept for centuries. It is evil. It is real. It is awakening.
Oh my god,
Which
that's so
it's
long.
so
The voice
so
made it sound cooler, so I want to like it inherently because of that voice was very devilish.
Should I just read everything to you in this voice for the rest of the episode?
The devil's here with us today.
It's appropriate.
That was a really good voice. Well, people need to shut up.
And it also
shut up with the taglines.
That feels more like a tagline for The Thing. It feels more like a tagline for The Thing, which I guess kind of goes to, again, the more you think about it, the more similarities there are between these films. But
what's the fun one? Give me the fun one.
Okay, the fun one. I was thinking about this as I wrote the notes. I was like, how am I going to read this out loud? Because this is one where the punctuation is real important.
Oh god, yeah, the delivery sometimes you gotta deliver on these taglines sometimes where they don't hit. Okay.
So I have to read the punctuation out loud to you because it makes it
perfect.
So much funnier.
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh no. So, what voice is gonna come out of you?
Where are you? ... Question mark. Christ?
No.
Where are you? ... Question mark. Christ? Question mark. Christ? Where are you?
Christ? It's giving, hello God, are you there? It's me, Margaret. That's
hello God. God, are you there? It's me, Carpenter.
Yes, me, Carpenter.
It's me,
my God, that's the voice you should have read it in. Ew. I hate that. It's so wonderful because it's so bad. Wow. So is that the one they went with? Christ? Are you there?
Hello?
Oh my God. Is that the one they went with? Is that on the poster? They left both of them off. They were like, we can't be associated.
I don't think either of those taglines made the poster. I think they were just an ad campaigns because neither of them are any good.
I would not go see those based on the tagline.
Based on Where Are You, Christ?
Where Are You, Christ? Yikes.
Yeah, so thought you'd enjoy that.
Like, okay.
Yep. Moving right along.
Like, the veal would have been better. Where are you, devil? That's what they're like. Anyways.
Where are you,
God's
Deville?
not going to save you now.
I mean, and also, this movie has...
There's no, like, godly element to this. And I mean that in a way of where, like, it's either, like... Also, the priest in this, like, him at the end? I saved us?
Oh, honey,
did you?
You saved nobody.
You saved yourself.
saved nobody.
You threw your little axe at the end and got body slammed by fucking telekinesis, but okay. So like, I feel like that tagline just wildly makes me upset because I feel like it should have been something more sinister as a tagline.
Yeah, well,
because this movie is that.
Yeah,
or, like,
nothing
sciencey.
about this movie is really like the Christian elements are excuses for the horror, not the other way around.
It should have been that line your girl said, which was like, "You're gonna
Exactly.
wish you were dead" or something.
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. That's the thing is there were so many lines in this that would have made good taglines that they didn't use.
I know. I always wonder. I think a lot of these places do taglines. Not to like get on a rant about taglines.
Get on a rant about taglines.
I feel like
Al.
they create them. I swear to God, I think they create them before the movie.
film.
Yeah,
that tracks.
yeah.
But still, who sits down and is like, "Where are you, Christ?"
Yeah. Yikes. Shirts.
Yep.
It's just your face.
Again, a baby T. Where
I
are
say
you,
a baby
Christ?
me. I was like, yeah, a baby Jesus you.
Jesus Christ.
We'll get you in that white robe from the Ring episode, and we'll just make you a little baby Jesus. And I'll make that shirt with you bleeding from your eyes. Black man. Alice Cooper is a baby. Jesus.
What the fuck is happening?
Where are you, Christ? And it's him. Okay, done.
God.
See, you have
wildly off the rails so quickly.
I have a smooth brain in a different way today. So, anyways, moving on.
Good. Where are you, smooth brain? Oh my God, I need to take my glasses
sorry.
off. They're like fogging up. I'm
not
laughing
helpful
so
today.
hard. So unsurprisingly, this was largely inspired by John Carpenter reading a whole bunch about quantum mechanics and theoretical physics and getting freaked out by it.
Have you ever read?
Yes, and it freaks me the fuck out.
I love, like, quantum physics, man. I say, this is going to sound like the stupidest sentence I've actually said, which is saying a lot for this podcast. If I was smarter, I would love to study quantum physics or mechanics. I find it so fascinating, but my dumb, smooth brain won't allow me to, like, I can process it, but it's like quantum physics for dummies.
Oh, I
Like, I
think
get it,
about
but I also
all
don't
the time.
get it. Me
Yeah.
too, though.
Yeah, I'm like constantly panicking about
Interstellar, like, throws me.
dark matter, dude.
Yeah. I haven't seen Dark Matter, but George loves that.
I
movie.
wasn't even thinking of the movie. I was just thinking about the existence
dark
of
matter.
dark matter and the fact
Yeah.
that we don't know what it is,
Yeah.
and it's like so much of the universe. We think we understand, and we
Also,
don't.
Like, how are we always expanding?
Yeah,
What does that mean?
We're always getting farther away from everything. And it
like, what does it
freaks
mean?
me out
There's got to be
now.
an end somewhere.
I think is part of why cosmic horror really gets me.
Yeah.
Because like all of this stuff is genuinely deeply frightening.
Yeah. Because there's like
Science is scary, guys.
Yeah, science is scary.
Science is scary.
Science is power.
There's my
is scary.
tagline for Prince of Darkness. Prince of Darkness. Science is scary.
That's good. But yeah.
Is it? Is it?
Yeah.
So anyway, quote from John Carpenter about quantum mechanics. He said, "I thought it would be interesting to create some sort of ultimate evil and combine it with the notion of matter and antimatter, which is one of my favorite concepts."
The fact that
Yeah.
that's why, like, even visually, like, for everyone and anyone who hasn't seen it, like myself, I was just like so impressed. I think that's what's so cool. I've never seen a movie like this because it puts those two things together.
Yeah, it's such a. Again, I think this is something that the more you read about quantum mechanics, the more deeply you find it frightening, unless you're the sort of person who just kind of
read things
nerds
and
out
just-
about it in an
yeah.
abstract way. But
Yeah.
like if you like internalize it, it's deeply scary.
Mhm.
But there's been so little horror made about it because it's very hard to understand. And that's
Yeah.
one of the things that he and some of the actors talked about in retrospect was like, a lot of the reason this movie works is because it doesn't try to explain it any more than it does. And it still explains it a fair amount.
It does. Yeah.
Arguably maybe more than it needs to. But
yeah. There could have definitely been some
there could have been less,
that,
but like the fact that he is using this scientific material as the basis of horror really feels fresh and really feels unique.
It does.
And,
yeah. Love that he went down that rabbit hole.
Yeah, me too. According to IMDb, another kind of major point of inspiration behind this is that Deborah Hill, who was longtime creative partner of his, she produced for him and sometimes co-wrote with him, had a dream that she told Carpenter about, where there was this kind of vague dark figure walking out of a church, and it just was one of those kinds of nightmares where nothing really happens. It just carries this sense of dread. And Carpenter really wanted to recreate that. And I was like, cool, thanks, Devin. I feel called out.
Yeah, we talk about dreams a lot here as inspiration. Yeah.
And like just like vague dread of just a person slowly walking out of a church. I was just shooting that 2 weeks ago. Yeah. And of course, Carpenter did write this himself, but he's credited under a pseudonym for spooky points. Martin Quatermass, which is that this name is a reference to a couple of different kind of beastly books adjacent authors. One of them is Nigel Neal, whose name is also the inspiration for Professor Birak's school, Neal University. He was a British TV writer who created this character, Bernard Quatermass, who I also want to posit that the name Martin as the first name there was maybe a George Romero nod, because George Romero's movie Martin had come out at this point.
Was it his pseudonym just for this specific?
Just for this.
That's so funny.
Yeah, because he did other pseudonyms for other projects.
I was going to say, I feel like I've never heard of this one, but I know he's done other. I'm like, did I just forget? That's so funny. He just has a good time.
And there's on the commentary track, there's this fun little bit where Carpenter goes off about Quatermass and is like pretending that he's an actual person. He's like, he's a personal friend of mine, a fine man. And then Peter Jason asks what he's working on now, and Carpenter's like, I think he's retired. I heard he's an alcoholic. He's writing, but nobody wants to read what he writes. Oh, no. It's like, Carpenter, are you okay?
Yikes.
Somebody go check in on this man. Yeah. Also, two little literary Easter eggs. One of the characters is named Frank Wyndham, which is a double sci-fi shout out. Frank is for Frank Herbert of Dune, Dune author, and Wyndham is for John Wyndham, who wrote The Midwich Cuckoos and Village of the Damned, which Carpenter also goes on to adapt. So all of this movie is just stuffed chock full with references to early to mid-century sci-fi names.
So cool. As one should, especially if he got such a research rabbit hole or wormhole to then just dole those out and sprinkle them, and it only makes sense. So,
which again is, I think, part of why this film feels so rewatchable, is like you can tell that everything in it is intentional. It's full of Easter eggs, and that's something he actually talks about, is because he had a much smaller budget on this movie, which we'll talk more about later. But because compared to something like The Thing,
oh my god,
this is teeny tiny. He felt like he had to be much, much, much more precise and think through everything much more carefully. And so he felt like this was actually one of the most controlled films he ever made, which is really interesting. Because I think if you watch this next to The Thing, you would assume The Thing is the more controlled.
Yeah.
He would probably disagree.
I'm sure he would, yeah.
Let's see. Production. This was shot entirely in LA over the course of 30 days, which short for this is period in production. And it was part of this kind of fun multi-picture deal that he had with this little company called Alive Pictures, which he also went on to work. The other film that came out of this deal was They Live, And he basically got $3 million to make this with complete creative control, which is
Whoa.
a pretty good deal for 1987.
Yeah.
Like $3 million, small budget for John Carpenter, small budget in general for this period.
He's done
but
smaller.
He's
so it's
done
like
smaller. He
to
knows
get-
how to make that. He knows how to stretch.
Yeah, he can stretch the dollar.
He can stretch that, and he does. Like the
Wow.
production value on this
Oh my
is
God.
phenomenal.
Yeah, huge.
So it, I think in many ways was probably kind of satisfying for him because this was also his first return to indie filmmaking after this series of studio films.
Yep.
And boy did he indie it up.
Yeah.
Like he
How fun
really
for him
was
to
like,
play.
yeah.
That's probably why he went so hard into research. He's like, I just get to
Exactly.
do
I get to be
what I
smart
want.
again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I get to be an intellect.
yeah. And
yeah,
it's
because being at the whims of a studio, which I don't have too much on that.
but
has
the
to feel
thing is
free.
obviously a studio film, you know? You feel it.
Yeah.
So yeah, here's the quote I got from him. It's one of my most controlled films visually. Every shot I can see, every shot is basically set to a purpose, where in some films I will let things go. I will be more loose, I'll let actors improvise. Every shot in here is specifically designed to communicate something. So moving on to cast and crew, that Alice Cooper cameo. The story behind how he got involved in this particular film and also the reason why they met at that Wrestlemania show was because Alice Cooper's manager was this guy named Shep Gordon, who's also the executive producer of this film.
Ooh.
And so he kind of set them up basically
It's
at
like
WrestleMania.
That's wild.
Yeah. And was
What
like,
a good producer.
yeah.
Like, just like nudging people together.
And his original idea was just we should get him to do a song for the movie, which Alice Cooper does. He wrote a song called Prince of Darkness, which appears on the soundtrack for Prince of Darkness, in the scene where Alice Cooper is using his stage prop bike to kill this dude. The dude that he kills is listening to the Alice Cooper song Prince of Darkness on his
That's so
headphones.
fun. Alice Cooper's such a nerd.
He's such a nerd.
I love it.
He and Carpenter are such nerds,
Yeah.
and they're just playing, and
Yeah.
it's fucking delightful. Again, the
So cool.
weapon he uses, that bike, that's
Yeah.
a classic Cooper stage prop.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Robert
Great kill.
Grassmere. Yeah, isn't it? Oh, it's so good.
Really fun.
Robert Grassmere allegedly kept the fake head that he has in this movie, but he had to like hide it in a box in his closet because it freaked him out too much because it
Oh my
looked
God.
so realistic.
I was gonna say, could you imagine seeing yourself like?
Yeah, I was
I
like,
don't know,
that's
I'd be a little
probably
weirded
exactly
out.
what I wouldn't want somebody else to own my fake head. But
yeah,
but like
actually,
I also
fair.
wouldn't want it out on display. It would definitely
Yeah.
live in a box in the closet.
Yeah,
that feels
yeah.
like the
Just to
only
know I own
appropriate
it.
thing to do with your fake head,
Mhm.
right? Or
It
destroy it.
does. Yeah.
Oh, that feels weird too.
I don't feel
that feels like
sad.
that feels like that would curse you. That feels like it would
Yeah.
have like a voodoo doll style
a
effect.
headache.
Yeah, yeah. Ugh,
Chronic
ugh.
headaches after that.
Also, apparently, Donald Pleasance, the priest, was like just a giant goofball of a person
Oh.
when he was out of character. And so, during the speech he gives about like he's gaining strength, when they were going back to shoot the coverage of everybody else's reactions to him, and he was like reading it off camera for them, he was trying to crack everybody else up
Oh,
with
funny.
facial expressions, like just like
Yeah,
pulling
hamming it up.
pulling shit, yeah, off camera.
Everyone's goofy uncle.
We love. Obviously a lot of this is shot anamorphic, and most of it is shot on very wide angle lenses so that you get that kind of fisheye
Everything, yeah.
distortion at the edges.
Yeah, packed frames.
Which I think also goes to it feeling like the production design feeling so lush and it feeling like such a high production value. I think a lot of it is that so much of this lives in these extreme wide shots where we're really seeing a huge amount of the world, and so it feels like expansive and lush and
Yeah.
lived in a way that's really satisfying and also a really interesting counterpoint to the thing where it's just this complete absence of anything surrounding them.
Yeah. Even some of the hallways. There's one specific hallway shot. They may have done it a few times, but just the chairs and the things like lining it. I think it's to walk up to the.
Yes.
Oh my God. It just feels like it's just a hallway, and you're like, oh my God, it
Yes.
feels so
It
big.
feels
It's not like these
so-
close-ups and these. Yeah.
It's very
Really
it's like a
something.
cavernous film.
Yeah. It also feels like you can't hide from anything too because you're just showing everything.
Yeah. Oh, love it. Let's talk about those dream sequences, shall we?
Yes, please.
First of all, melted my fucking brain. I loved them.
Yeah, especially going in blind. It's like we had no context to this.
I had
and then
no
to just see that,
idea.
I'm sure you just like broke
I
for a second. Did you
screamed.
rewind like 5,000 times?
I did. I rewound and I literally screamed when I saw like
Yeah.
the VHS like fuzz come onto the screen. I was like,
It gives like Videodrome, but in like
Yes!
a way different, completely different vibe.
I'd written down the
Completely.
same thing, especially with the idea of like, this isn't a dream, this is a transmission.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, so Videodrome.
These are so cool.
So
Uh-oh.
I found an interview with John Carpenter in Rue Morgue. I wasn't able to read the entire thing because it wasn't all digitized. It's from like a 2012 physical edition of the magazine.
Oh, gotcha.
So I read several versions of the story of shooting that dream sequence and could not decipher which one of two things Carpenter was saying he did here. And so I'm going to present to you my two interpretations,
Okay.
and you can try and figure it out for yourself.
Dealer's
Sorry, guys.
Dealer's choice.
I did my best. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what he's saying here. The first part makes sense to me, which is, so obviously all of this is shot on a video camera, on videotape. He says that he then reshot part of it. And this is where I get confused because either the way I've seen several different articles reference the same story that Carpenter has told, but they haven't given the exact quote. So it's been interpreted different ways, different places.
I
And
hate
either
that.
what they're saying is that he shot it on a VHS and then played that on a TV screen and recorded the
that.
TV
Got
screen,
it.
or they're saying that he shot it on a VHS and then matted two frames together so that what's inside the frame, you have like the church on a camcorder and then the person exiting the building, and that little part of them exiting the building is matted from a television set.
Got it.
And so it's two different definitions of the word TV set. Is he talking about a set that movies are filmed on, or a
'cause
TV set in the living
is
room?
Weird.
So, depending on which version of the word TV set you think he's talking about, it could mean either of those
if you
two
would have said TV
things.
screen.
Then I would have known.
Yeah.
But
I have to rewatch
television
those
set, I'm not entirely sure what he's saying.
Yeah, me either.
Could be either of those things. But
cool if he did the matte one.
cool if you did the matte, which it honestly, it
Both
kind of looks, I mean, all we see of what's inside the church is that the lighting is blown out. So it could be shot elsewhere. I could see him having done that, having matted those two images together as a way of creating this kind of disjointed effect. Either version or both versions could be true, and I could see really interesting creative arguments for either of them. But so anyway, what we know, it was shot on camcorder, and he did some sort of a post process on it. That's what I got.
Camcorder stuff looks so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch back because part of me wants to say it didn't look like it was matted, but there were some like matte shots and thing that actually like you would have no fucking idea. So
It's
I don't
hard
know.
to say, and it's
Yeah.
also like I don't know how precise the technology to matte a
On-
tape image would
That's
have
what I
been.
was gonna say. That's a different thing than like creating snow and
Right.
these people are walking. Like
Right,
it's
that's
white.
That's the
seems
easy kind of
easier.
matting.
Even
yeah,
even like what 5 years later, I don't know if they
if they would have had
also
the
on that
ability.
budget and
Exactly.
is that what he want? Yeah.
So if
interesting.
I twist my arm, I would guess it's probably saying that he shot it on camcorder and then shot it on a screen to get an extra layer of distortion and
That's what I'm-
fuzz.
yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
But
Who knows?
who knows? I
Yeah.
wanted to present it in case because if it is a matte process,
Yeah,
fascinating.
then no one yells at us.
Yeah. So come yell at me. If you know, if you have that 2012 edition of Rue Morgue and you can send me a picture of the actual quote, I would love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
I did my best.
Or if
but-
anyone can anyone reach into John Carpenter's brain?
Yeah, just resurrect John Carpenter.
yeah.
He's dead, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think he's dead. I think he's passed.
Hello.
Sorry, guys.
John
John?
Carpenter's passed, right? No, alive.
Uh,
The way
he-
they say, why did I think he passed
he alive?
too?
oh no, John Carpenter! I'm so sorry.
Okay, I said reach into his brain, and I thought you were gonna look at me like horrified, like he's dead, and so I just
I
yes-anded
thought
with
yes,
you,
I
and we
thought
went into
yes.
dead
Oh,
realm.
good, great.
Cool.
Sorry,
so if
John.
anyone could call him up and ask him.
Cool.
I was too afraid to lean that way. I don't know who's
I
alive
shouldn't-
and dead at this point.
Oh my god, that's God. Everything's so hard, you guys. Okay,
We can't know everything.
As I said, Carpenter himself is also the dream narrator in that,
Mm-hmm.
and that audio clip of him saying like, "This is not a dream, this is a transmission," has been sampled a ton. It's in a ton of different songs, including some Marilyn Manson stuff, which we don't want to talk about. But anyway, there's also a lot of kind of references to sci-fi film history, like the shots of characters looking up at the sky and seeing like a moon, a crescent moon and a sun is a 2001 Space Odyssey reference. Okay, I saved for you by far my favorite, or by far the most interesting story from this set.
Ooh.
Possibly one of the wildest stories I've ever brought into this podcast.
No. Oh God.
I can't stop thinking about it. I
no.
polled several friends in the film industry about it.
Oh God.
I want to hear Travis's reaction to this
Oh,
in particular. Okay.
Travis, come sit down in the middle.
Yeah, let's all right, I'm going to put my glasses on so that I can watch your reaction to this.
Just say it to Trav.
Let's hi Travis. So you know that shot of the claw going into the mirror and the mirror's like drippy? Carpenter says that was the hardest thing to film. And in order to do it, they used liquid mercury.
I fucking knew you were gonna say that after you said this was a wild story.
Oh, but the wildest part, Al,
Full submersion,
is where they got that liquid mercury from. They took all of the dollies and cranes from the set and drained the liquid mercury from their hydraulic systems into a giant pool and then put a dummy arm into it because you can't have a human being touch
Okay, thank
liquid
fuck. There's not
mercury.
a human.
Drained it
liquid
into a
kill.
pool and then had to replace the liquid mercury into the hydraulic systems of every single dolly and crane on the set. Thoughts?
How pissed do you think the crew was? When was this shooting day? Sorry, Trav.
That's what rental insurance is for.
That's what rental insurance is for.
Rental insurance, baby.
Yeah, make sure you get that. Could he have not just called up the places he got the equipment from and been like, yo, you make these, you put this in. Can we just buy a bucket of that real quick?
Could he not just have planned to purchase a small amount of liquid mercury?
He had to have the resources.
What
at
this
point.
tells me, y'all, is that he knew that this was incredibly unsafe because
Yeah, no,
mercury is unbelievably poisonous. And so he told this indie production company that gave him the go-ahead, like, oh, don't worry, we're definitely not going to use liquid mercury.
And he just
Told the crew, oh, don't worry, we're definitely not going to use liquid mercury. Probably waited
producers that
until
day on
the
set.
day of.
Oh, yeah.
And then was like,
Two
because
people knew.
what else are you... How else does this happen where the only source for this giant
Is to just
intensive
break down.
prop is to break down all of the dollies and cranes on
That
your
is
set?
wild.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. So
Can you imagine what that day looked like? He got poor
I'm
little
gonna have
PAs running
nightmares
around
about
doing
it. Yeah.
that. I was like, I'll give you an
Yeah.
extra $100 today if you help me with this and don't tell anybody.
But I
You
mean,
could be in my next film.
it's also though like
I would have done it.
I knew you
I
would
would have
have
done it.
I knew
I'd
that
be
was gonna be your reaction.
If you make sure
Mhm.
that I'm not gonna get in trouble, John Carpenter,
Yeah.
I might do this for you.
I'll trade
As
your
a
mercury
little,
for you.
eager PA.
Yep. Oh yeah, 100%.
Now, probably not. Well,
I think you would.
maybe.
For John Carpenter,
I might.
would. Now that we know he's
Yeah.
alive,
Yeah.
John Carpenter, call him
Don't
up.
bring that up again. It's hard to know sometimes. I don't keep track. Everyone's getting old.
Everyone's getting old. Time's
Every day.
Weird. Time's weird. People die. It's
all the
fine.
time.
Everybody will be dead eventually.
Yeah, we'll be dead sometime. So
We'll all be dead sometime.
Here, if we want to get into quantum, like we're all alive and dead and not even born. At the
Schrodinger's
same time.
cat, baby.
So,
yeah. Which also, love a horror movie that has a Schrodinger's cat monologue. Are you kidding me?
Schrodinger's cat.
Ugh.
You
so
should name your next cat Schrodinger. That's actually kind of fun.
That's a good cat name. That's a really good cat name. I got my mom heat up, you know those mugs that like new patterns emerge when you heat them up?
Yes.
I got my mom a Schrodinger's cat mug, and like half the time when you heat it up, it's like an alive cat in the box, and half the time you heat it up and the cat has like little X's on its eyes.
Excuse me, Siena's talking here. No sneezes, please.
Hello?
Allergic to cats.
He's allergic to cats. That's
Are
so
you
cool.
there? Jesus?
Schrodinger?
Schrodinger? Yeah,
That's
anyway,
wild.
so drained liquid mercury. Got some feelings about that.
Yeah. Hard feelings.
Yep, hard feelings. The church basement location that they used was part of this like old, abandoned, like rundown former ballroom in a hotel in Long Beach that
Oh, I
used to be
love Long
used.
Beach.
Yeah, and it used to be used a lot as a film set.
Cool.
But by the time they got to it, it was like so run down that there were huge areas that they couldn't even go in because pieces of the
Oh,
ceiling would fall on
Damn.
them. So that everybody in the cast and crew had to like sign a liability release beforehand, which I feel like he probably did this because he was like,
the Mercury.
well,
Yeah.
then you
he's
can't
like,
get me for the
well,
Mercury
well,
either.
Definitely because of the location.
yeah, just because of the location. That's definitely the most dangerous
he
thing on the
gives
set.
sinister in funny ways.
He really does.
You know, not like
Yeah.
bad, but
Yeah,
like shit
but
like that.
He's a little bit devious.
Yeah,
is
he's
John
devious.
Carpenter. Also, of course, we got to shout out that this is a Carpenter composed score,
Yeah.
which the thing, of course, is not.
Yeah.
It's Ennio Morricone, right, imitating Carpenter's style essentially. But this is the man himself working here alongside his longtime collaborator Alan Howarth, who would program synths and handled mixing and some of the production. Went on to be nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Music. Composed in like 4 to 5 weeks, so pretty fast process.
It's so good.
It's
so
really
Carpenter.
good. And basically what he would do was he would sit down with like a 24-track recorder in front of a TV screen playing footage, and he would just improvise to it, which I fucking
I just
love.
want to do that for a living. That sounds so
Right?
fun.
And like to your
That
own work
specific type
too.
of yeah. How fun.
And I found some really good quotes from him about soundtracking, actually,
Ooh.
on the film's IMDb page, where he says, there's 2 kinds of scoring in movies. One is the kind of underscore, minimalist idea, and one is Mickey Mousing. For example, in King Kong, every step that King Kong made is scored. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Every emotion is scored. That's Mickey Mousing. John Williams is the biggest, most famous Mickey Mouser of them all.
Oh my god, stop it.
Such
Mickey
a
Mouse
petty
man.
bitch, and I love it. I love it.
Listen, John Williams is not affected by that.
True. John Williams is doing just
He's
fine.
fine.
He's fine.
That's so funny.
How much do you think this made?
I don't. If it made its money back, 87. I've just never heard of it. I think that's my thing. But he had a bunch of successful films, so I'm sure people wanted to come see it. On a high note, 15. On a low note, 7.
Look at that. Well done. It earned 14. Yeah. 14
Wow.
back on a $3 million budget,
That's
which
the
is,
closest I've got.
yeah, well done. Which
Okay.
I think
That's
is like,
pretty
it's
good.
fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. After something like The Thing, I'm
Mm.
sure it's a
yeah.
letdown, but for what it is, the fact that it made its money back and substantially more
Yeah.
is pretty
For him to basically
impressive.
get paid to like, here's $3 million to fuck around, do whatever
Yeah,
the fuck
make
you
a horror
want.
movie about like Satan is actually quantum mechanics.
Yeah, it's
like,
wild. The
yes,
fact that people went
please.
to go see
Ugh,
this.
I love it. It honestly kind of restores a bit of my faith in the the
Mhm.
audience.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Currently holds a 63% from critics, 61% from the public on Rotten Tomatoes. And I think this is very much a case of like the work of a great director being overshadowed by other things that he's made. Where like, I think had this not been made by the guy who made The Thing and Halloween and They Live and The Fog,
Yeah, the fog.
I think it would have probably met with a kinder reception, especially because this is so much more surreal than
Yeah.
what he's known for.
Yeah. He also has done so many things, and I feel like he had this time where it was like he almost needed like a breather to leave people wanting something. from
Yeah,
him.
he was so prolific during this time
Yeah,
period.
you gotta
that-
think if you're putting that many things out in that time, like in a
Yeah.
decade. Look at all the
Yeah.
films that he put out.
and how
you're not going to have them all be successful.
You're
It's just you're not.
You're not. And of
Yeah.
course it's going to be the one that's the weirdest that's going to get left behind. But
Yeah.
I genuinely think this is like a brilliant
It's really
fucking
great.
film. And it's a scary film too.
Mhm.
Unsurprisingly though, reactions were even more negative at the time of
Yeah.
release.
I'm sure.
There was one like really particularly brutal and representative review entitled Prince of Darkness, Let Satan Sleep from Richard Harrington in the Washington Post.
He's a tired guy.
Where he like ends it, his like closing snark is that the film too deserves to be shut up in a canister for 7 million years. Like
Bro,
Satan
who hurt
does at the
you?
end. Yeah, right? So brutal. Over time, as is so often the case, it's kind of met with more of a reappreciation from cult audiences. There was one 2004 review from Jim Emerson on RogerEbert.com where he talks particularly about it being very like connected to early surrealism and like the Buñuel Dali short Un Chien Andalou, that which
We
like
talk about that all the time. It's so
of
fucking
course
good.
and like particularly like all of the bug imagery, it's so directly it's
I
very
felt bad
that
so many bugs got stepped on.
I know it did remind me a lot of Blue Velvet though, which
I gotta rewatch Blue Velvet, man. I think I have like no concept of Blue Velvet anymore.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
We just played it at the theater too.
I mean, we did just play it.
So film critic John Kenneth Muir has a very Siena-coded take that I wanted to nod to here, where he talks about the whole film as kind of an AIDS allegory, which
Oh, man.
once you see that, it's very hard to unsee it. The demons are communicated via fluid exchange. Walter gets attacked by women in a closet and has to escape. There's like a lot of stuff. And I also thought, especially the connection to quote unquote street people, the kind of addict imagery that's used with them, it's very much touching on like the same marginalized communities that were hardest hit by this epidemic. And to be honest, that's the part of the film that I feel the most morally conflicted about, because if you view it through that lens, it maybe feels a little bit homophobic. However, I would like to present to you another Siena take in my little mini film theory rant corner for this episode, because obviously I have to watch this movie as a radiation metaphor. Because I'm me, and I just made Radon's Daughters. And when you have a character write a sentence on a computer like, "You will not be saved by the god plutonium,"
Right.
and it's like not explained.
I was gonna say they never. I thought it was gonna go that direction. That's why we like when it like we say dense or thick or whatever. Like they never touched back on it again. I'm like, did I miss something?
It's wild, and that to me,
I wish it would have gone that way.
That to me
bit.
makes it feel like that is under the surface of this entire film. If that's like that feels like the thesis statement of the film is what she's writing on that computer screen there. Is like, you will not be saved. You will not be saved by the god plutonium. You will not be saved at all.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, that was such like a big like turning point in the film too. To like then, I don't know. That's where it like doesn't hit for me. I just wish there was, not that we needed more stuff, but I almost wish, again with religious stuff, I'm like, am I just missing something? Which I am sure I am. But I kind of wanted to go more like delve into what that looked like a little bit.
Here's my argument for why I think it actually does.
Okay.
I think that while I can see it being an AIDS metaphor, it feels to me like this is very intentionally meant as a radiation metaphor. And here are the reasons why. I think the idea of an invisible poison, this is right after 3 Mile Island, right after Chernobyl. I think that was also like 87. Like this is that same time period that those things are happening, where you're first encountering in the West the idea of, oh, this kind of invisible agent of destruction that we have unleashed on other parts of the world could hit us here. And so when you say something like, you will not be saved by the god plutonium, and then have the final images of the film be these characters with their skin melting off, I saw that and I was like, that
Pretty direct.
looks like makeup that was done by somebody who was given images of bombing victims from Hiroshima and Nagasaki.
Yeah.
And at the end, even in those last 5 minutes, they're talking about they need to encase the building in concrete.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they did to Elephant's Foot in Chernobyl. They encased the whole thing in concrete because there's different kinds of radiation particles, alpha and beta decay. Some kinds are only effectively blocked by things like concrete.
Yeah.
And so the idea of this glowing green essence that is this agent of destruction, which also makes me think about the Oppenheimer quote about like, I am become death, destroyer of worlds. There's this very like, in the ethos at the time this film was made, there was this idea of radiation as this kind of dark god, as this thing that has the capacity to produce so much energy and also so much destruction.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
And so this imagery of this glowing green essence at the basement of a church that needs to be encased in concrete to keep the public safe from this invisible spread that is going to make your skin melt off. Like,
that actually makes a lot more.
It's radiation horror, baby.
Yeah.
And so to me,
they kind of just kept it more visual with
and so watching it and seeing it and thinking about it through that lens, it's like, I think maybe the reason we only hear her say, or we only see them type like that bit about you won't be saved by the god plutonium once, is I think probably John Carpenter thought that it was so obvious that that's what everything else was about, that he was like, oh, I just need to nod to it. And the reality is, it's so dense that it feels like it's about all of these other things. But to me, that is the most direct metaphor that he's giving us.
I like that one the best. That makes it make more sense.
It makes it make more sense. That is to me the thing that like
angle.
ties it together most effectively, especially because why do we know about quantum mechanics? Because of our research into radiation and vice versa. Like so much of our understanding of subatomic particles comes from
those
that
go a lot
research.
More hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. And so like where is the point where our understanding of religion and our ideas about subatomic particles and the nature of the universe and our fears about those things all coalesce is in nuclear fears and nuclear anxiety. So off my soapbox.
No. That was a nice way to kind of I think people should watch it with that in mind. I think that's
it
the
will
best
make
lens
it
to watch it
feel
through. That
more
green
effective
lens.
through my green radiation lens. You're welcome. I know we're almost out of time. I'm just looking through my watch notes to see if there's anything else. The lyric reminded me a lot of Phantom of the Opera. The opening reminded me of Kronos. There's just like so much stuff that felt
This one really felt reference heavy, like in the most amazing, luscious way.
Yes. Also, I just had to shout out the bass line in the soundtrack was just like...
This soundtrack fucks so hard.
So good. As soon as like there was like a very kind of goblin influenced moment where the first kill hits and the bass line comes in, and I was like, oh, fuck
buckled in.
Fuck yeah. Also, Crucified Pigeon. Alejandro
Jodorowsky
God, I don't know why
I forgot to bring it up. I want that. I want it so bad.
I want it as a tattoo.
Crow's nest.
Like,
back piece.
Oh, my back's
back
already
pigeon.
My back's
mine's
taken.
open.
Take it. Take that idea,
Stomach
baby.
piece.
Oh,
the crucified pigeon was probably one of my favorite images of like all time. It's
it's
so his
so
little tootsies crossed,
right? It also even reminded me of Stalker too, which is another one that like clear nuclear metaphors. So many references tucked inside this movie, which also even when I was watching Carpenter interviews about it, he talks a lot about how as he was working on this, he was thinking about the difference between like Russian montage and German expressionist editing and like wanting something that felt very German expressionist in the sense of like this like slow, languorous motion through scenes. And so like just...
Especially some of those outside wide feel like that.
Yeah. Man, that guy is such a film nerd.
Yeah.
At the end, I wrote down Eli Roth could never. Disgusting. I also... the line where I think it's one of the scientists is like, normally I love being dominated by women. The person I was watching with was like, that's a Carpenter self-insert. So just had to shout that out. Yeah, I fucking loved this movie.
It was so fun.
In conclusion,
everyone should watch it.
Watch
Like,
it as a
truly.
nuclear metaphor.
Yes, absolutely watch it as that.
And, like, give it a fucking chance. I think it's really...
I feel like it was a pretty quick, like, you get into it.
Yeah.
Which is nice, too.
Yeah.
It's not like you have to wait for something to come around and get, it kind of just, like, pops off.
It
and
pops, yeah.
It's just, I have never seen anything like it before, and that in
Before or
itself
since,
is really
yeah,
cool.
it's so refreshing. And that was
Yeah.
something he talked a lot about, was, like, this was a period in Hollywood horror when, like, all of these imitations of the work he'd just done were coming out, and he wanted to do something different.
Good for him. He's like,
Yeah.
when you go right, I'm gonna go left now.
Exactly. And
That's sports,
boy,
guys.
did he zag when
Yeah.
everybody else
Yeah.
zigged, you know?
Yeah. I
Like,
actually fucking appreciate him so much for that. Yeah.
So, in conclusion, snaps
so
to
good.
Carpenter,
Yeah,
snaps to
so
Prince
many
of Darkness. Gave me a total like identity crisis, mental breakdown
Yeah.
last night, but in a good way.
In a healthy way, yeah.
Yeah. Well, healthy. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
I
true.
go that
Actually, yeah,
far,
sorry.
but-
I'll take that right back. Sorry. Apologies.
Yeah.
Great. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Fun.
10 out of 10.
Just for like originality and like wildness and gore and
yeah,
music and,
and-
imagery and
and draining all of the dollies on your set
And
to get the
drain-
mercury out of
that
them. What
specifically.
the fuck?
yeah, that last
Yeah.
little star is filled
Yeah.
with that. So.
Yeah. Half a star for that. Yeah, shall we take a break
break
and get
time?
back to the thing?
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
We know how much you love stories of horror and gore. Meet our sponsor, Beasley Books, the independent bookstore owned by author George R.R. Martin in Santa Fe, New Mexico. Beasley specializes in autographed titles, rare editions, and speculative fiction, which includes sci-fi, fantasy, and of course, horror. You can find many authors whose adaptations we've covered at Beasley, including Stephen King, Clive Barker, and more, alongside the likes of Nick Cutter, Shirley Jackson, and Anne Rice. Visit the Santa Fe storefront Wednesday through Sunday at 418 Montezuma, or shop online anytime. I don't know why I'm Irish now, but you can find them at BeasleyBooks.com or on Instagram at BeasleyBooks418. And make sure you use code SPLICE10 to save 10% when you shop online. SPLICE10 to save 10% when you shop online. Bye.
And we're back. Sorry, I
so-
got hair stuck in my glasses as I
God.
was doing that. I thought I was ready. I'm not. Now I'm ready.
Nervous.
Hi.
So, hi. We're doing a thing. I'm going to have Trav bring in my visual gag that I've been holding on to.
My God.
For those of you watching, which you should, I have made myself
Yes.
the hat.
Oh
I steamed
my
it myself.
God. What? Ow. Ow. This is so
Have it in my
good.
closet. That's the thing.
How
So I will be wearing
how
the hat
long
the whole
have you
time.
been waiting
More-
for this?
the whole episode.
No, I mean, like, how long have you been waiting for an opportunity to wear this hat?
Just recently. Not very
That
long.
doesn't answer
it was
the
a very
question.
it was a very quick whim.
Oh my God.
But I was like, because Siena always brings in props.
Yeah.
The foil hats are sitting.
Yeah.
The Hershey Kiss hats are sitting. And I was like, do I have a hat? Because when we were at the pop up, you're not gonna be able to take me. Trav's been calling me prospector.
Oh my God. Howdy, partner.
So when we were at the pop up, you were not because you were filming. You're not gonna be able to take me seriously. Good. Some
It's the way
guy.
you're stroking the ties.
Because
for
I
him.
don't wear hats as much anymore. So this feels very strange. And I also don't know what I look like. I blind put this on myself. So when we were at the pop-up, someone was dressed as McCready. And we were like, oh, like, where's the hat? And he
Amazing.
was like, oh, like, I always wanted to. I look like an idiot. He was like, oh, I've always wanted to make one. Or, like, buy one. But if you look them online, ding. If you look at them online, they're kind of, like, stupid expensive for
Got it.
what it is.
Got it.
And I realized I had a brimless felt hat from
Look
Target.
at that.
And I was like, let me like get my steamer for my clothes and see if it'll curl up.
Oh my God.
And it did.
Amazing.
And then I realized in person,
So proud of you.
he looks cool. I don't think this is a look anyone should do. Although I said, don't we see a lot of Santa Fans
That's very
around
Santa
town?
Fe. It's very. I
who are
feel like
like-
you could sell that to a tourist for hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I could scam some people
Yeah.
for sure.
That's-
So yeah, I bought some
New business
ribbon
idea. I love it.
and I made it. I'm sorry I didn't bring you one.
I love that it's like a yassified version though.
It's
Like,
super. Yeah.
It's very high
a light.
fashion.
It's
Yeah.
a little high
very
fashion.
chic.
So
very
I will be
demure.
doing my notes, and if you want to borrow it at any point,
I would love to. Just so that you can see how hard it is to take seriously.
Oh, I know. I've looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, "This is stupid. Should I even do this?"
This is
The
stupid.
answer
You
is yes.
must.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, here we go. The thing.
Buckle up.
Where do we start? 82s. Obviously, it's part of your trilogy.
Mhm.
I'm not going to read the description, but we'll start with tagline. There are two. There is only one.
Are you there?
And then, yeah,
Jesus?
it's not as bad as those. These are actually, it's fine. They're fine. And then a dumb producer threw his fucking one in a hat because of reasons. So the tagline for this one is anytime, period. Anywhere, period. Anyone. Which is, like, fine.
Sounds like a condom ad.
Oh, well, it doesn't say period. Oh, no, it does. Anytime, anywhere, it sounds like an STD commercial.
Yes.
Like, go get checked. Planned Parenthood.
anytime, anywhere, anyone. Yes.
Oh, no. Okay. That's maybe my feelings I had towards it. Yeah. So
there you go. That's why you
that's
hate
the
it.
only one. Universal Studios executive Sid Sheinberg
I've
took
heard
it
of
upon
him.
himself to, which is a lot of the Universal in this is like not my favorite. Love Universal. They were like off the rocker. I feel like I'm
Off
like
and
hearing
on.
myself with this cat bouncing my voice back. He wanted to throw in the ultimate in alien terror, which there's so many
Bad.
problems with that.
Bad.
Obviously
Alien.
came out like I think a couple
3 years
prior.
before, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they really wanted to capitalize on that. They saw that was a success. He was like, if we don't do this, it's not going to be a success. So whatever.
Right.
That was also thrown in there. They were wrong because I don't feel like this is an alien movie
Right.
in that way.
No.
And that's not what Carpenter wants. We'll get into that.
It's cosmic horror.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
It's Lovecraftian,
it's
sir.
Lovecraftian.
It's
Sid.
Lovecraftian, Sid.
We have the very iconic opening title sequence of the thing,
Oh,
which is
so
very
good.
reminiscent of the 1951 opening. Which have you seen the
Yes,
original?
I have not.
Me either.
I have not. I feel like it would be very up your alley, though.
Yeah.
Is my sense. Just
Oh,
from-
because the 50s, like sci-fi. Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
I
classic.
should. I'm
gal.
surprised I haven't seen.
Yeah, I would have expected that to. I know they've even done box set releases of it with
Oh,
the
shit.
thing.
And I
Yeah.
love the thing. I just want to put on
Yeah.
record like this is.
This is
I
one
think
of
it's
your
a top.
favorites.
Yeah. For the both of us, but
Oh, yeah.
so it was Howard Hawks' 1951 film, The Thing from
Mhm.
Another World, which this is a remake of, and they achieved that effect of the title animation style, The Thing, by it was then placed behind like this smoke-filled fish tank and covered
Mhm.
a plastic garbage bag, and then the bag was then lit on fire, which created the effect of the title kind of burning onto the screen. So I love that it was
Yes,
practical.
So cheap, too.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Yeah.
It's again, even though this was a big budget film, it's the small budget tricks he uses that
Oh, yeah.
make it.
Yeah. I feel like an idiot talking to you.
I
right now.
love this.
I'm
I'm so about this.
Everyone just like once in a while take a peek at our YouTube page just to see,
It's
or if
so
you don't
worth
see our
it.
Instagram. Yeah. So director John Carpenter, obviously.
John.
Yeah, director John. We all know what he did. I'm not going to read that because I'm going to try and save some time. Fun fact: John Carpenter was not the studio's first pick to direct the
Oh.
thing. Any guesses on maybe who they had their eyes on? Or I don't know if you kind of knew.
My instinct is Wes Craven.
No, but that would have
No?
actually been a good one. Tobe Hooper.
Oh, that was going to be my second guess.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh my god, fuck! I should have let you do.
That's so
Um,
funny.
yeah.
They were like the golden boys at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as I read that, I was like, this
Yeah.
makes sense.
Mhm.
Tobe Hooper was actually originally set to direct and co-write the thing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So two producers named Lawrence Turnman and David Foster had Carpenter as their first choice, but Universal
Oh.
Studios had already hired and contracted Tobe Hooper.
Got it.
And Tobe Hooper had already submitted his two scripts for it too.
Oh shit.
But the studios was not a fan They thought they were atrocious, which
wonder
I think is so funny.
why.
And I wonder if they
Yeah.
exist online. Again,
Oh, I'm so curious.
it's such a, I don't know how to express. I had to turn off the making of, which there is one. This is where most of my material has come from. IMDb, and then like honestly watching that making of. It's an hour and a half. It's on YouTube. You could just making of the thing, and I had to turn it off because there's so much good information. So I would say if you really, 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 really want to like go super deep, oh my
deep
god,
into the ice.
yeah, deep into the ice, into the middle of nowhere, go there, because I'm gonna keep things kind of short.
Cool.
So he submitted those drafts. They did not like them. And Universal kind of reconsidered hiring Carpenter because obviously Ridley Scott's Alien, which came out in 1979,
Right.
and then John Carpenter's Halloween had come out. Those were both huge hits. They were like, okay, maybe we can kind of see him in this role.
Guy. Yeah.
Again, what did Toby do? Oh, I do have it. Okay, so what did Toby do?
What did Toby do?
To start, he wanted to feature an alien that did not shapeshift or assimilate. And oh my god, I forgot about this.
Oh no.
Bro wanted to make this basically Moby Dick. The Moby Dick of space alien movies.
Would you say he wanted to make it
Oh no.
Toby Dick?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I hate that so much. He wanted to name the main character the Captain. It goes downhill from Toby Dick. Again, shirt idea. Oh no, Sienna melted. We're getting.
Oh no.
See, you didn't have puns for yours, and now you're gonna have all the puns for mine.
I was taking mine so seriously, and now
yeah.
you're wearing this hat. I can't take
I know.
anything serious.
Honestly, me trying to seriously get through my notes right now is like a fucking good fucking luck to me. I forgot that he wanted to make it. Yeah, so he wanted this like epic quest to find and kill the thing.
I'm sorry, I'm stuck
In this
on
hat, probably.
Yes. I'm stuck on Toby Dick. I am now picturing a t-shirt that says Toby Dick, but it's like the cover of Moby Dick with the whale, except the whale's face is
Tobe Hooper?
Is Toby
Yeah,
Hooper.
that's exactly what I was thinking. The merch ideas.
Yeah.
Can we hire one of you to make all these ideas come true? We will pay you. At least for
The
posters.
Texas white whale.
Yeah.
Ooh,
So
I'm crying. Cool.
So it also said it would have served as its own film and both a remake and a sequel to the 1951, and would have taken little inspiration from the John W. Campbell Jr.'s novella, which the thing we got from Carpenter actually kind of follows.
Interesting.
Hooper said that the original novella was actually, quote, boring, and he didn't, which I'm like,
Why
just
are you
don't
trying
even
to
take this
adapt it
project.
then?
I can see where the
Yeah.
studio was like, no, this guy's great, we got him under contract.
Oh no.
Actually. And not only that, but he would have changed the tone dramatically as well. I can't believe I forgot about this. He wanted it to be a horror comedy
Oh my god.
featuring mainly slapstick humor, which again,
Toby.
the hat would have stayed. Which is wild. So Tobe Hooper pitched it as an alien movie that was, quote, a swashbuckling action-adventure epic, a modern-day Moby Dick set not in the ocean, but at the bottom of the world, Antarctica. Was he high?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, the producers were like, we're good. And they actually said they, quote, avoided disaster. It would have been one of the worst movies ever made.
Yeah.
Which now I
sounds
don't
like
want to
it.
see it.
Wow.
If anyone wants to take that idea now,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
That ooh.
Right?
Ooh.
It kind of seems like if you know that it's bad, it would work.
Like a producer's type of situation.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
movie that was never made.
Oh,
Yeah. The thing that was never made.
the thing that wasn't.
Yeah, the thing that never was. Oh my god. Ideas.
The thing that almost was.
So
Toby Dick.
Toby Dick. Obviously it was based on the novella from 1938, Who Goes There.
Ooh, good
There
novella
were other works that this guy did. I just want to nod. Frozen Hell, which is an
Oh.
alternative version of this film. The Moon is Hell, and The Cosmic Junkman are other things that he wrote, which
love the name.
this kind of all makes sense.
Yeah.
We have, so obviously Toby Dick was going to write this, moved on, got fired. And so they didn't have a screenplay, so they had to hire a new screenwriter for this. And they hired Bill Lancaster, which I was like,
Why does that
sounds
name ring a
really
bell?
familiar? She's
Yeah.
got to do really prolific stuff. So
What'd he do?
he
What'd that boy
also
do?
wrote 1976 Bad News Bears.
Oh.
1977, Bad News Bears in Breaking Training. 1978, Bad News Bears goes to Japan. And you won't guess what comes next. He did 1979 through 1980s Bad News Bears television series, and also wrote the 2005 Bad News Bears. And that is all he's done.
What? He's only done the thing in Bad News Bears?
Yeah. That is
what a wild career.
So I don't know how this came to be. He did say he was initially attracted to writing this, not only because of the body snatcher elements, which, hey, our last episode.
Love that.
But more of the mood, the ambiance, and all the characters and elements of paranoia.
That's so funny.
I had to take a sip of water. Bad News Bears.
So
And then hasn't done anything since.
now I'm trying to picture what like a Bad News Bears thing crossover would look like.
Bad News Bears baseball, right?
I have no idea what the Bad
Yeah,
News
me either.
Bears are. I was picturing it being about actual bears, and I was trying to imagine like the thing taking over a bear on like a picnic or something.
Ooh. We'll never know.
We'll never know.
Or we can watch his whole career.
Just watch every single Bad News Bears
Yeah. Wild.
production ever made. Yeah. The
Anyways,
full Bill
moving on
Lancaster
from
special.
Bill. He kind of crushed this, to be fair.
Did a great job.
We have cinematographer Dean Cudney. He worked on Halloween 1, 2, and 3 with Carpenter, as well as The Fog and other films with him.
Cool.
He's most known for Jurassic Park, Who
Oh.
Framed Roger Rabbit, The Holiday,
Oh.
Hook. Also, oh no, I gotta put my hands. He also did the Disney Channel original Camp Rock. Had to put that in there.
Oh my
And
god.
then, you'll never guess, he did the cinematography for your favorite film of all time, What Women Want.
God damn it.
I was really excited to see
Thanks,
that. But he's done a lot of really cool stuff, except for those things. Silly Goofy Juice. We have production designer John Lloyd. He did Blues Brothers. Worked with Carpenter on Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh.
And then Carpenter said that he was used to working on smaller films, and that John Lloyd, quote, came along with such enthusiasm and knowledge and a great eye. So
I love that.
there's like a theme of that with Carpenter with this film specifically. I haven't read articles or things on him in other films, but this seems like it's a
It
theme
seems
that
like it's a thing that he does.
he likes people to bring their expertise, and I really feel like he trusts people to do that, which
indie spirit, baby.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
John Lloyd was working for Universal at the time and said that the script came across his desk. He read it and he said it was one of the best science fiction films he's ever read in his life.
Wow.
And that he heard Carpenter was attached to it, and he heard about his previous films and his reputation, and then arranged for an interview with him and got the gig from there. So he sought out this.
That's so cute. I
got
love
it.
that.
A lot of fanboys on this, which is really cute.
Aww.
We have lead special effects makeup artist Lance Anderson. He did 2000's The Planet of the Apes, the 2000's Dawn of the Dead,
Cool.
The Crow, and Dead Silence.
Oh,
Yeah, had to
killed
throw in The
it.
Crow.
Yeah.
We have special effects makeup creator Rob Bottin, which I'm probably going to say his name wrong a billion times. So I'm
Love
going to
it.
call him Special Effects Rob.
Special effects Rob.
Because
We
it's
love.
spelled, his last name's Bottin. So I want to say
that looks-
Button or something,
That
or like
sounds very familiar.
just
Do you
Bottin.
know what else he's done?
RoboCop,
Uh-huh.
Total Recall,
Oh.
one episode of Game of Thrones, the
Oh.
2000s Charlie's Angels, The
Hmm.
Howling, Fight Club, and like
Ah,
so many more things.
cool.
He was also a big fan of Carpenter's Halloween and knew Dean, the cinematographer from a previous project, and basically begged him to introduce him to Carpenter.
Aw.
And so he actually met Carpenter while he was shooting The Fog.
Oh, that's
And
so
so
cool.
he goes on set, and I guess he like walks into the office. I don't know if I think he was already having like a meeting with somebody else. And so Rob walks in and basically is like, hi, just a really big fan and like really want to work for you. And Carpenter's just sitting there in his chair, like chain smoking.
Okay,
And it's like,
yeah.
okay. He's like, can you stand up? Rob stands up, and he was like expecting him to basically be like, and get the fuck out of my office.
Yeah.
So he stands up, he goes, cool, you got the job. I'll see you tomorrow. So he starts working on The Fog.
Oh my god.
As what? I don't know. I did not write that down. And then Carpenter told him about the thing like later. And Rob was like, I would love to work on this, whatever. And Carpenter was like, yeah, like you could, I want you to work on the thing when I do this.
That's
And so
sweet.
some time goes by. In between, he actually worked on the Howling, and Carpenter saw it and said he did such a good job. And he was like, I'm actually getting serious about making the thing. You got the gig if you want it. Which, all the while, this man, when he started working on the thing, so when he started working on the Howling, he was 20 years old.
My God.
And when he started working on the thing, he was 22 years old.
Baby.
And he is like the special effects creator. So he was in charge of every single creature that we see.
It's giving what's his name from Dead Alive, who was 26 at the time.
I know, it's kind of like, which, like, I feel like in the 80s, all these dudes were just like 20 and up and coming because all this technology was new.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that's a good point. Is like there was kind of this new generation of special effects makeup artists who were pioneering stuff that hadn't been done before. So like, you might as well be a kid trying shit out. Like who's going to teach you?
Yeah,
it doesn't really exist in the same way.
I wish it still existed.
I know.
Another world. So an additional creature effects was the legend himself, Stan Winston, was on this project, which I found this like very much at the end of my notes, and I'm really glad I didn't miss it.
Yeah, because that makes perfect sense. He was our Big Bertha dude, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Big Bertha.
From Lake Placid.
I believe so.
I think he's who made like
I don't know. I didn't list that.
Oh.
But he's so Stan Winston, I feel like everyone knows like Stan Winston Studios. He worked on the first three Jurassic Parks, which obviously was puppeteering and
was
animatronics.
Stan Winston, because we talked about how they learned things from Jurassic Park about how stuff got soaked.
So it was his If it wasn't him
it was
specifically,
his studio. It was his studio. Yeah.
Thank you. So obviously that was like the pioneering of like this puppetry. So he worked on those, Batman Returns, Galaxy Quest, which I love. And so many other things. He has his Stan Winston School of Character Arts, which still exists. And him and the Stan Winston Studios were actually hired by Rob to design one specific creature, which we'll get to. It's the dog thing creature.
I was gonna ask because that is
just
spectacular.
Which we'll get into. There's just like so many. I kind of had to like cherry pick the things that
I'm sure
I found cool.
This may be, I think this may be the best horror practical effects of all time.
I would like give me another one because I can't
think of anything that
this much
reaches this caliber with this much variety, and every single creature hits this hard.
Yeah, it's so good.
It's so good.
Do you have a favorite creature?
Probably the dog. Probably the dog. It's really good.
Yeah,
it's really good. Especially like that first reveal. The first time I watched that, because I only watched the thing for the first time in like, I think in the middle of the pandemic, in like 2020, 2021.
Oh, damn. Oh my gosh.
And when that first came on, obviously like I was already like a hardened horror fan.
Yeah.
And that got me in like a classic kid getting a jump scare way that I haven't felt since I was like 12. Like it's so good.
It's so and we'll get into the I have some like show and tell for you too on my phone.
Ooh,
but it really is one of those films that even still like the puppetry and the design of those creatures is like unmatched.
It's unmatched. Yeah.
So anyways, I guess speaking of budget with all the creature effects, you probably know the budget at this point.
I used to. I don't remember.
So God. 3. This has so many puppets. Studio film. I believe this was his first big studio film too.
Oh, it's got to be over 15.
No, you just stop there. It's 15.
What?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Which doesn't feel.
That's like surprisingly like
his biggest.
Yeah, but could be so much bigger.
Yeah, 82 though. Pretty big at the time.
Yeah, big for 82. For sure.
Yeah, so 82, it was obviously not the average for a horror film at the time.
Yeah.
For context, like the 1980 Friday the 13th was 700,000. His Halloween was 375,000.
Wow. Well, and I mean, I guess for reference, thinking about Jaws in 75 being 9 million and that being such a overblown budget for the time.
It was a celery budget.
Yeah, true.
I forgot to talk about yours.
So much of that was celery.
Me and Trevor make the joke. What was the briefcase budget on your film? Because those things were so large. Like, why
There's a
did
lot of
everyone have like a
briefcases.
suitcase with them at all times?
It's fine.
Yeah,
We'll talk about it.
It's fine. You're gonna show up with a big briefcase tomorrow. Do you want to guess how much this made back in the box office?
Oh my god. Did this pass the 100 mil mark? No?
No.
Wow.
No,
50?
No.
Third?
No.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Surprising, right?
What did it make?
20.
No.
It
only barely made its money back. That is
wild
shocking.
to think about what this film is now.
Yeah. Well, and
I
especially
mean, it still
to
made
think
20, but like it cost.
well, and to think like if this made 20 in 82 and then in 87 he makes Prince of Darkness and it's like the weirdest thing I've
and it made.
and
That's why I
it's-
was shocked.
and it made 15.
Uh-huh.
That's wild.
I wonder if by that time this started to already kind of come back and be a cult.
That
No.
makes sense.
I don't
And
get it.
that's
I know. So I
Wow.
think some of that has to do with the fact that the film, so I think I say it later, but E.T. released like weeks prior. And then another film that I have, I forget. But I think
Oh,
because
that
of
makes
like
sense.
Steven Spielberg's E.T.
That's a hard thing to come
crushed
out.
it, and to
Yeah.
put these two things out where the studio was really trying to push this like it's an alien movie. It's like,
Mhm.
but
But it's
not.
not. Yeah, it's mismarketed.
Yeah.
That
So
makes
I
sense.
think they kind of missed. I wish they kind
Missed
of
the
would have
boat.
just listened to Carpenter on this
Yeah.
one,
Yep.
and they would have had success. So
Yeah.
bummer, because now to think of what it is and to see that is wild.
That's
So
sad.
I know, kind of.
Well, and I imagine that he must have been really devastated by that, because like that's particularly to have come from making something like Halloween at 375
Mm-hmm.
to then go and make something for 15 mil and
do
see
like first big studio thing and be
Yeah.
really excited and like, but he probably was like, maybe this
Yeah.
isn't for me.
yeah.
And so when going back and making Prince of Darkness,
Makes
he's like,
sense. This is for
"Ah,
me."
I can
Yeah.
just do my own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Plutonium will save
Yeah,
me.
it will. We're gonna move on to the cast. I'm gonna try again, like to keep it a little bit tight on this. So I might cut people out.
Mhm.
We obviously
Again,
have Kurt
big
Russell
cast, yeah.
as McCready, which I hate the way his name is spelled.
It's
Mac
gross.
Ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ugh,
It's gross.
Hate it.
Disgusting.
So also like Carpenter, he was not the first choice and was actually hired as a last resort, which is again
That's
wild.
He's
I cannot see anyone else.
This
in
is
place.
like the iconic Kurt Russell role.
I
for
feel
me.
like
Yeah.
I mean.
That's what I
he's
hated
been a
about it.
bunch of really great things, but like this feels like the thing. I guess for me, like this put him.
Yeah,
on my
this was
radar.
like the star making in my head. This was like his star making
Mhm.
performance.
Yeah,
Wow.
they so they were skeptical. The studio was skeptical of him at first and said he was, quote, too young and pretty to play the part of this rugged
Oh my
character.
God.
Which, like, yeah, he's still a beautiful
Well,
human being.
but
Also,
also put a mustache
acting,
on him.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
fine.
the principal filming was set to begin in just a week, and then they were already shooting B-roll at the time that the studio kind of felt in
Whoa.
this pinch, and they were like, they had no choice
need-
but
yeah.
to hire him. I think he was kind of like waiting on the wings for this because
Makes sense.
Carpenter really wanted him.
Got it.
And there were some producers, I think, that really wanted him too.
Interesting.
So who did the studio want initially? Nick Nolte.
And they said that their problem was that he was too pretty,
I can't
and they
remember what
wanted
that man
Nick
looks like.
Nolte. Pretty.
Super pretty.
He's a pretty boy.
Mm.
Yeah, and like a much worse actor in my opinion.
Well, he turned the role down.
Good.
so-
Isn't he? Wasn't he the one in like Field of Dreams? I want to say.
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe I don't know.
I gotta look
don't
him
know
up
if
because the
that's it.
name sounds really familiar.
Travis just gave me a look that makes me think that was wrong. But
Okay. Psh, Travis. Other actors up for the role were Jeff Bridges, Christopher
Oh,
Walken,
I could
Chris
see Jeff Bridges
Christopherson.
being good.
I could see Jeff.
casting.
Yeah.
That's the only
He
one.
gives ornery, but
yeah, but
he's
like
really,
still pretty boy.
cool. I think he's pretty too.
Yeah, still pretty boy.
They all turned it down. This screenwriter Bill Lancaster actually wrote the script with Harrison Ford and Clint Eastwood in mind for the
that
roles.
Makes sense.
Again, they also received offers. They also turned them down.
Good.
And so every actor, I guess, like the reasoning behind turning it down was either the shooting schedule wasn't lining up, they really didn't want to shoot in these cold locations, or they
Fair.
didn't want to be associated with B horror at the time.
Interesting. Even though this is not B, this is
That's
A
what they
budget.
said, but they probably heard Carpenter and were like, I'm
Got
good.
it, Got it.
And before we move on, one little fun fact about Kurt Russell, his famous kind of hair and beard took him a year to kind of grow out
Oh my
and shape. So
God.
I have a feeling like because he was
He'd been prepping.
I think I don't know. Again, there might be other things. This is what the internet has told
This
me,
sounds like one
so.
of those situations where like Kurt Russell and Carpenter had like a whole scheme
Well, it's
going
like Freddie
on.
Prinze Jr. And I Know What You Did Last Summer
Exactly,
is
yeah.
like they were like, no, the director was like,
I
I
want
you.
you.
Just hang on a little
Yeah.
bit, work out. a
I'm
little
gonna make
bit.
this happen.
Yeah. So I think that was happening in the background.
That
because
tracks.
Carpenter's stubborn.
Yeah.
And I love that
Love
about
it.
him.
We love that.
We have Keith David as Childs.
So good.
He was in Armageddon, They Live, and I didn't realize he was the iconic voice for Dr. Facilier in Disney's Princess and the Frog, which has one of the best songs in Disney history is
That's
that song.
So cute.
And he credits, this was one of his first roles in a feature film, and he credits this role as the one that kind of launched his entire career, which, is
Aw.
still kicking. So I think. Unless he's dead too, I don't fucking know.
I don't think so.
I'm going to move. There's so many people in this, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
move on the ones that I have
Love it.
facts about. We have Richard Mauser as Clark. He turned down the role in Steven Spielberg's E.T. E.T. because he wanted to have a more secure role in this film.
Oh my God.
I don't know if he was just going to be like an extra.
Fair. But I mean, honestly,
I don't know. Turn down Steven Spielberg.
that's a hard decision to make, but I feel
He had,
like
like, a-
ultimately probably the right call.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if
Yeah.
it's a meteor role. And fun little tidbit, Richard Mauser and Keith David decided during rehearsals, because they were the two largest men of the cast, that they would
Mhm.
kind of have this like little rivalry as characters.
That's so
little
cute.
background thing that they made up. Of course, we have to shout out the star of the show. We have Jed the dog. Love that his name is Jed.
Jed.
Yep. He was half wolf, half Malamute. Apparently, Jed was an excellent dog actor and a consummate pro. He was said to never look at camera, the dolly, or the crew members. Which I'm going to be honest, he does a really good job.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's really
Not
impressive.
even one little wink.
Yeah.
John Carpenter said that he was incredibly impressed with the work done by Jed, and that the shot of him kind of walking down the hallway and searching for a human was done in only about 4 or 5 takes.
Wow.
So he wasted no film.
That's
He was
so
really
impressive.
good.
Good
The dog kinda
dog.
sells it,
Good
yeah.
boy.
Uh,
I love the shot of Jed coming around the corner and sitting down, and you see the shadow of the human on the wall behind, and like their faces are lined up. Oh,
Yeah. The shadow work in this is pretty great.
yeah.
Yeah. Dog gives me, to find a dog actor that can give you like uncanny too. And
Yeah, that was one of the notes I wrote down, was like the dog acting is
I know.
creepy.
Him when he lays down in his little thing and
Yeah,
just
and he's just like,
stares at the wall.
and like all of his muscles are tense.
Yeah.
Like there's something wrong with that dog.
Yeah.
Good job, Jed.
I know. Yay, Jed. To be noted though, the dog running in the beginning was not Jed. It was a dog painted to look like him. Which I love. I said he had stunt doubles. What a diva.
False Jed. False Jed.
Yeah. Carpenter also has a little cameo himself in this as an uncredited Norwegian man. And then we also get John Carpenter's wife, Adrienne Barbeau, in the movie as the female voice that we hear on MacReady's computer.
Oh.
Yeah.
When he's playing chess? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I
Or-
actually feel like I wrote that note and I totally forgot to
think
look out
that's when
for
he's
it.
playing chess.
Yeah.
I feel like that's
Yes,
it. Yeah.
we gotta
But look
guess.
at that. Love that. Love that for us.
So some notes on script and development. I have a
Mhm.
couple. John Carpenter said he was sold on making the thing from the blood test scene alone,
Oh, it's
which
so good. Yeah.
that is one of the most laugh out loud moments for me in cinema. Them trying to get away from the thing on the bench and being stuck and tied and them all just screaming is so viscerally funny to me. It is so do you not laugh?
It horrifies me. It makes me sweat.
Oh my god, it kind of absolutely kills me.
That's so
It kills
funny.
me. And just the jump cuts
Wow.
too, that once people are clear, they're just
Yeah.
like in the shot and the next one like holding something. I think that scene is the humor in that is
That's it.
not talked about enough.
That's a good point. I think it's so stressful to me that I've not really appreciated it, but it is played very humorously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like meant to be, but I think inherently with something so scary, it's just so
Yeah.
funny
the
to me.
line between
Like the
those
bench
things,
going up
yeah.
and they're just like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, dude.
Yeah. And I do sometimes find the little blood monsters crawling across the floor kind of funny.
know,
They're cute. Yeah.
The one
And
that
they're
comes
like,
out of the petri dish gets me every time though. I always know what's gonna happen.
but it's
That little
so
scream,
scary.
yeah. So that was the scene that sold him on this, as all of us, I think. But he was, again, kind of going back to this like monster movie, alien movie. He was super, super, super adamant to create a monster movie where the creature was not obviously played by a man in a suit. Which I think is so funny because like Halloween is what he's known for.
You love a man in a suit, Carpenter.
He does, which was something that kind of bothered him. He said in the Ridley Scott Alien film. I don't know if he was tired of it.
That's out of all of the films that I can
love
see
Alien.
that criticism of.
He said it.
Alien is not the one that comes to my mind most as like that looks like a human in a suit.
I know they did a really good job with
They
that
did.
one.
H.R.
had a problem
Geiger,
with it.
man, those creature
I
designs are
wonder.
great.
I wonder if he was just trying to get away
That makes
from
sense.
it.
Yeah,
and
that
so
feels a little
he
more
was
like a
critical.
Yeah, feels
So-
more directed at himself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a common thread in this for him.
Facts.
He really didn't want a man in a suit, which is so funny to me for certain reasons, which we'll get to. John Carpenter also recalled he did see the original film. He thought it was absolutely terrifying. He loved it so much that when he was in high school, he also read the short story and kind of noted how different the film was from the story.
Interesting.
And he said, like in the film, how they made it more of a Frankenstein film. He kind of wanted to go something a little bit different than that. He thought the imitator quality was the most fascinating part to him. So
Very, very
so
pod
glad.
people, very uncanny valley, very it makes it that is the headiest element of the movie because that's the most like they have that great conversation about like, well, how would I know? If it's a perfect imitation, how do you know?
I know.
Which I
So scary.
love that. That's to me the scariest part of
Super,
it. Yeah.
super scary. So from this, Bill Lancaster and Carpenter actually worked on rewriting the script together. So Carpenter did have his hand in
Aw, I love
that,
that.
to kind of reflect his vision as well.
It helps.
Yeah. John Carpenter said, quote, it was the longest prep that he had had on a movie, and he hasn't had one since, or had a long one since. He said from the time that he started until they wrapped, it was basically a year. But he said that it was also a luxury to have that, which I really appreciate that he kind
That's
of
cool.
saw. Yeah, because he
Yeah.
was like, I had time to make things work and focus on
Take
things.
the
And
time.
I mean, with special effects like this, first time doing it, they had room to fail sometimes
Makes
too.
a huge difference.
Yeah. I'll touch on this briefly. Him and Carpenter actually had a huge Kurt Russell and Carpenter had a backstory for McCready of him suffering from PTSD. That kind of he was supposed to be like a Vietnam War vet that was kind of had some sort of troubling thing that got him kind of disgraced from the military.
Interesting.
And so he had a lot of guilt from that, a lot of PTSD, alcoholism, and severe insomnia. Obviously, that backstory didn't make it in, but there are moments in that which I did catch and note this time, which I feel like it plays because that's always kind of what I assumed from this
100%.
character. So the light
gives
sleeper,
that energy.
yeah. So they heavily discussed that. They wanted that in the film. I don't think it was needed to get the point across. Also, if
you
anyone's
feel it
yeah,
on an emotional level.
yeah. And if anyone's asking what they were doing there and what they were researching, nobody knows. It's not really.
It's not
talked about.
important.
I
It's
don't
not
think
important
either.
I don't care.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
either.
The important thing is that they're there and it gives them the excuse to have equipment to be able to do things like the blood test.
Or guys that are there to do stuff. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They have
Yeah.
things to fight the things.
They have blood test things and
Yeah.
fire throwers. That's
Flamethrowers.
that's what counts.
I want to know
Yeah.
why those are there.
Honestly
bears
fair.
away.
Yeah.
So some fun marketing facts for this one, which is always, oh no, what were you thinking of?
I was just picturing them getting chased by like a herd of rabid penguins or something. Just like
Have you ever seen a
flamethrowers.
penguin move?
They
They can't move very fast.
I was like, well,
They
what
are
is there in
tall, though.
Antarctica that could attack you?
They're in the Antarctic.
Isn't
Opposite
that-
end. Antarctica, Antarctic. They're different.
No, Arctic
Okay, which
up
ones?
north, Antarctic
okay,
down
I'm not,
south.
but it's
the-
so it doesn't do the same. So it's not Antarctica. They're in the Antarctic. Is that one that have penguins?
Yes.
I don't know. I've never been. I'm just prefacing. I don't care if they have penguins. They have polar bears too.
Arctic, up top.
Okay.
Antarctic,
Antarctic,
down below.
Antarctic.
Arctic.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Listen, guys. Art school. I don't
Cool,
know
cool.
things about geography. That is not my strong suit. Nor is knowing about penguins. Anyways, marketing
This is not a penguin pod.
Wish it was sometimes. I would actually maybe learn something. So
Season
marketing
3.
facts.
Whole penguin horror.
So I feel like for this one, like the most identifying thing is the poster
Yep.
for this one. That's what everyone
Yeah.
knows it by. So the original poster for the thing actually involved a series of jaws emerging from smoke in the sky above Outpost 31 and was all in black and white. However, Poltergeist had come out the same year and they were also using their black and white advertising. So they were like, we got to change it up. So they hired poster artist Drew Struzan. I'm not sure if I don't think he did the original one. I think he was brought in after and basically created a poster we know that we see which is funny because it's a man, like a monster man with this light coming from him, which is exactly what Carpenter did not want this film to represent.
And it's so like
A
that
man
image
in a
has nothing
mask.
to do with what the film is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Arguably it does, but I feel like it could have been done better, but that's what we're stuck with. And that's
It
like
makes
all
it
we see.
seem like the
Like that's
horror-
the alien
yeah,
coming in.
Yeah.
Like it's this humanoid man in a mask,
Mhm.
which is exactly what
It's like-
Carpenter
yeah,
was
exactly.
like,
That's what he
no.
was trying to avoid. Yeah.
So
I almost feel like it would have been. No, I'm not going to say it. That's a terrible idea. But
Oh no.
well, it was like, what is like the heart of the horror to me? And it was like, I feel like it's the shape-shifting creature. And
Mhm.
what is the part where that shape-shifting creature is made the most powerful? It's with Jed the dog. But then I was like, Sienna, you can't suggest a Jed the dog poster.
Jed the dog poster. You could, but I feel like then people,
it's terrible.
hard.
It's a bad
hard-
idea. Yeah.
No, it's just like a hard film to,
It's a hard film to
like
poster.
the petri dish with like blood forming like a hand or something. I don't know. It's a tough one because it's such like a, I don't know. It's like, because then you don't want to give the monsters away, right? There's so many, but
I almost feel like it would have been creepier if it was just like snow with the title coming through the snow the way it does in the opening. And like you can see like a little bit of a silhouette behind it or something like that.
Yeah.
Like something that
subtle.
Something subtle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a hard one to.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so-
sorry, I'll stop pitching
No.
poster ideas.
No, I love it because it's just like, it's like, how do you
Yeah.
describe this film to someone, especially at this time when they're trying, he doesn't want a man in the mask
Right.
horror
Right.
monster. The studio's pushing Alien.
Mhm.
And it's just like,
None of these
none of
things
those
are
things
quite
work.
right. Yeah.
so it's so funny that we're stuck with that and I feel so bad.
Yeah.
So that poster was presented basically as like a take it or leave it.
Got it.
And
so they took it.
yeah,
But-
so they had to take it. John Carpenter thought it made it look like a slasher movie and said, quote, they should have just painted a bloody knife in his hand. He was pissed.
I get it.
Yeah. Also, I thought it was really cute. The year of the release, Fangoria magazine had a promotional contest where they asked people to draw the thing to see if anyone
Aw.
could guess what it was, and that person got to win a trip to Universal Studios.
Oh, I
I'm like, what a
love
fun! Can we
that.
get back to that?
Yeah, I wonder what they drew.
I know, right?
They just drew Jed
and a dog. It was
They
you.
just drew Al in a cowboy hat.
I'm getting used to this thing now.
Good.
That
makes one of us.
So sorry for you. I really apologize for today. I am not at my best today.
This is glorious.
you
I don't
have a
know what
smooth
you're talking
brain.
about.
Mine's like I said, smooth in a
Smooth brain and a cowboy hat, baby.
huh.
That's
Can you guess how long this took them to shoot? I'm gonna ask you that because I thought this was a wild time.
This feels like it must have been a long shoot.
Yeah.
Because I imagine also this. I feel like I don't know how much of the snow is real snow, but they would have had to shoot somewhere that's actually cold.
Mhm.
If nothing else, because we see their breath.
Mhm.
So, and
Love that you
that
brought that up.
anytime you're shooting in the cold, your days are gonna have to be shorter because
Yeah, you've learned.
yeah.
Or shut down.
I'm not gonna talk about it. It's
Sorry.
fine. I feel like at least 2 months. I feel like they needed
Yeah,
at least 2 months.
Yeah, so 3 months in total.
Wow, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Which is
Like
the
a full
longest
season.
one.
Yeah.
Full season. Oh, yeah, like a
Yeah.
full season. So they shot on 6 sound stages in LA.
Wow.
They also shot in northern British Columbia and
Okay.
also shot the opening sequence in Alaska.
That makes sense. Yep.
To which Carpenter said, for shooting in Alaska, he said the only problem with the location was we couldn't get any beer. Priorities.
Yep. That tracks.
They
That tracks.
they shot in a
brand.
town called Stewart in British Columbia, which was kind of this really remote place that only had one road in and out because it was part of a mining.
Oh,
It was like a mining
interesting.
road, and I think it closed down. The mining place closed down, but it was on top of a glacier. They did have like some trees in the background, but they just like built the set the other way. They built it in July so that it was actual dirt that they could build on before the snow would come in. So that same year they built that, and the temperature ranged between 0 degrees Fahrenheit and negative 15 degrees Fahrenheit during this shoot.
Oh my god!
Which cost the production $75,000 alone just to dress the crew and cast and things that they wouldn't die in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
know that feeling.
didn't have to worry about the breath there. That's how they did that. But how did they manage to get the like frosty set in LA on set?
Especially because at this point you didn't have like heated vests and stuff. Like we depended on those for Radon's daughters. It was like vests with like a battery pack in them so that you can hide.
Do they have those little breaky things though? Those little hand
hot
warmers, I
hands?
wonder.
Yeah.
And I
I'm
wonder
sure
if
they
they
have
just did
hot
like
hands.
short takes when they could, or like really thick wool or animal hides maybe underneath. I'm curious, like the underlayers.
Yeah.
They were pretty bundled.
Yeah.
When they were out there.
Yeah.
Goggles and all.
And
the
the
hat.
hat model. Yeah.
The hat
and the
helped.
hat. Hat helps. The hat helps a lot.
That helps. Yeah, it kept me warm today on my way in. So to kind of get that illusion of the Antarctic conditions, they refrigerated them down to 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Executives actually believed, with their boldness and lack of knowledge, that refrigerating the sound stages would be actually way too expensive. So they offered a wonderful alternative.
Oh no.
Hear my sarcasm. Of shooting the set inside massive cold storage
No.
lockers.
Oh
Which
my
of
god,
course
that's
did
so
not
much
work
worse.
because not only do they have low ceilings, but those
Yeah.
aren't very big. So it basically would be like shooting in this room.
Oh my god.
And they were like, "Oh, yeah, sorry, our
No,
bad.
we can't
can
do
go back to
that."
this thing that you originally pitched because you actually know what you're doing." So they refrigerated the sound stages.
Great.
And also Kurt Russell would say sometimes before a take, he would take a really big drag of a cigarette to just give him some extra
That's so
smoke,
funny.
which I'm sure Carpenter was like, "I'll take that
Yeah.
from you
Yeah.
afterwards."
Great idea.
Um,
Follow your instincts.
yeah. No, definitely do
Love
that.
this
I'll hold
improv,
that
yeah.
for you. I'm not going to talk about it much because I don't have a lot, but I thought it was cool that they noted Carpenter said that they wanted to keep the color palette with wardrobe and the set really neutral so that they had these nice pops of color with the gore.
I was thinking
from
about
Rob.
that. Well, and I was thinking especially because there are so many scenes in this film that have, particularly at the beginning, there's so much like intense blue lighting from the computers, from like the light bouncing off the exterior snow. And every time you get that kind of icy blue, it then makes the pops of blood all the more powerful.
Yeah. And I feel like too, like the blood in this isn't the blood we sometimes see with these like bee horror or whatever. It's not super red. It's kind of
Yeah.
this like really
It's
thick.
very dark.
Yeah, and I
Which
love it.
I also just have to shout out when they go to the Norwegian camp and they see the guy who has like the frozen drips.
Yes. Don't you love that? It reminds me of the 90s candy that you would like.
So satisfying.
Gooey.
I want to like
and-
break it off and chew on it.
I know. That's what I said.
Yeah.
It reminds me of that 90s candy that it was like a sucker, but you dip it in that weird. I never ate it because it grossed me out. But
Yeah.
you would dip it in like that gelatinous.
Yes, that's
sour
exactly what it
mixture.
looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they use. I don't know.
There you go.
feel like that's
Maybe that's what the candy came from.
I'll get you one of those.
Perfect.
So we're moving on to the really iconic stuff. We're moving on to special effects and the special effects makeup, which was
good.
very hard for me to pin down. So I kind of focused on, I think, the more iconic moments and how those worked, and some mishaps that happened within
Ooh,
those.
we love a
Yeah.
special effects mishap.
There were a few, and they all kind of seemed to weirdly happen at these big moments, at these
Great.
most iconic parts of the film. So to start, the film is obviously often considered a benchmark for special effects makeup. Again, like I said, we'll get some quotes from Sam Winston, but it was kind of this pioneering stage for this stuff. So they were figuring it out as they go. And I think it's so funny. It's this benchmark movie for this, but Universal Studios only wanted to spend $200,000 of that budget on special effects for this.
That's
And
insane.
I'm like, have you read the script? Have
Yeah,
you
that
been a
is-
part of pre-pro? Like,
What
do
is
you know
the
what's-
other 14 mil going to? Like, that's insane.
Their pockets.
Yeah.
Their pockets.
It's all Kurt Russell's hair budget.
honestly. Why is his hair looking so good the whole time?
It's so good.
Wearing a
It's-
hat,
yeah,
my hair is
yeah,
not
yeah.
good when
Well,
I take
also
this
like
off.
your hair is gonna freeze in that weather.
I
Like
know,
the
his little
second there's
frosty mustache I love
yeah,
too.
yeah, we love a frosty
Um,
mustache.
yeah.
But like his hair should have frozen too. He's got like the frosty
He's got
mustache and his
hairspray
hair
in
is just
there.
like
Just breaks off.
silky. Yeah.
Shakes it off. Like a little Disney princess.
Yeah. There's like sparkles that come off.
Yeah, it's not snow, it's just little glitter.
This is the hair of a killer, Bella.
I love that man. So obviously the rest of production was like shocked.
Yeah.
That's a
You would
so
have to
they
be.
I don't know what they ended up getting. I couldn't find it.
Wild.
But they definitely fought for the budget that they needed. So SFX Rob was actually the one that came in to Carpenter with all these ideas. So obviously, Carpenter and Lancaster had like written the script together. But Carpenter said that Rob came in and had these quote wild concepts on how the thing really looked, and that it could look like anything. So Rob was really the one, again, he's lead creature design. And so it could be any monster. So that was kind of really his idea. I think Carpenter obviously kind of he liked that imitation, but just the fact that it could be anything that we see. So out of that changing shape and imitation comes like all these creatures through the universe that the creature has ever imitated. So that's why we kind of get to see all these different types of monsters, which I'm going to show you my phone. I have some screenshots, which we can put on social after this, but you can just swipe through. So I also have some storyboards, but he storyboarded, so these are Rob's drawings, right?
Oh my
so,
god. Oh my god, this one's so cute.
So you got to think this thing is like traveled across the universe. And so all these weird shapes and we see, some we might recognize, but some we might not, because he might have encountered them at different timelines, different planets. So I didn't really know that aspect of this. I just thought it was like trying its best to be a dog, you know,
my
or
God,
like,
I
it saw a spider
love
while it was
this.
here, which Antarctic, I don't think there's not spiders in the Antarctic. There's no fucking way. Snow spiders? I don't know. So while you flip through those, Carpenter also called Rob very daring in this approach, and that he was sometimes even a bit doubtful he could pull it off, but he did trust him. And so you saw some storyboards too. So again, we'll put these online because they're really fucking cool.
really
They're also
good.
in the making of. That's where I screenshotted them from. So on YouTube, go watch that. But so Carpenter basically had Rob consult a storyboard artist, Mike Plug, which I guess Carpenter called him by the wrong name. He called him Flug, and he's like, whatever.
Oh no.
Which I love. But Rob was like, wait, Mike Plug? Rob was a huge fan of him. He also did a lot of comics and stuff too, and Rob is a really big comic nerd. So the two of them met for a couple weeks to storyboard and finalize the storyboards together with these creatures. What would they look like map everything out. So Rob has like the stack of stuff, they're finished, he walks back to the office, they pin all the storyboards up into the wall, and then Carpenter said, cool, like, this is great.
Right.
You actually know how to make all of these things.
Oh my god.
And so Rob's like,
moment of truth.
He's like, you know what? Yes, I can do this. And Carpenter said, cool, like, hey kid, go nuts. And Rob's like, as a 22-year-old, to have Carpenter, who he's a fan of, the storyboard artist, where he could do this, like, go nuts and do your thing. Like, I trust you. If you say you can get this done,
Man,
is so
that's
cool.
so satisfying.
Satisfying
and rare.
I know. I knew he was a cool guy. I didn't realize, like,
this makes me love him even more.
he just like gave this opportunity to a fucking 22-year-old.
It again,
22-year-olds are babies.
That's so young. But like, again, like you said, it's going back to, like, with picking his cinematographer from his Cam and Electric crew. It's such promoting from within mentality, which I love. Yeah.
Oh, totally. Carpenter actually said too that when he was on set watching the SFX scene with Charlie's head that slides down off the table and then sprouts the legs, which is a story that I posted the other night.
Yes.
That was actually the moment that he had this great sense of relief because they achieved his goal of not making a horror movie with a man in a suit.
Yes.
He was this shit is gonna fuck
that,
everybody
that
up.
ain't a man in a suit, baby.
Yeah.
So
it's
good.
so cool.
It's
His
so
little
good.
like eyeballs. I also love that the shot where it just creeps out behind them and they don't see it and then they turn around like, you gotta be fucking kidding me.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's
the
so
subtle
good.
humor in this is incredible.
Yeah, there's an undercurrent of goof to it.
That's
that
why
I
you got to
love.
rewatch
Yeah.
the bench scene in a
I
new
do
light
need to rewatch
because
the bench scene
I-
now that you're.
I cackle.
That's
Maybe it's just because I'm like, ooh, men and screaming. It's really funny to me. So
that tracks.
yeah,
That
yeah,
tracks.
yeah.
That's on brand for you.
Yeah, we'll never stop that. Sorry, that is who I am. But men being scared, they deserve
Yeah.
it sometimes.
Oh yeah, we
So
love to see a scared man.
Yeah.
Love.
Stan Winston said in an interview that this movie was, I love this. He said it was hungry for SFX.
Oh,
Which I really
hot.
I know, right? This movie was just hungry for
I
special
love
effects.
that.
And said that it was such a great time. Again, he was hired by Rob to do the dog thing creatures, specifically at the time. Like I said, puppetry and animatronics, he said, was starting to come together. So he's formed his studio. They're figuring this kind of whole world out themselves.
Mhm.
And Stan Winston said because they were still relatively new to the style of puppetry, he actually was taking his arm and would record himself in a mirror and kind of like puppet his arm as the
No.
dog, because he was like, what better
Oh,
way to find an organic
wow.
movement than with
Yeah.
the human body,
body,
which is like
yeah.
the perfect
Makes
organic
perfect
like
sense. Yeah.
movement.
That's gonna be so much better than trying to create a machine that will
Yeah.
do it for you.
So it did have an animatronic face, but that movement kind of
Wow.
together was shot over a 2-day
Oh,
period.
that's so smart.
And in an interview with the, I don't know what this is. So in an interview, the makeup lead Lance Anderson said about that day that, quote, I had my arm up the dog thing and operated the mouth, all twisting and everything, and that there was this slime constantly running down my back and my neck, which is so gross. And for the shots where they got like the tentacles slithering out from the dog's thing body, they actually shot that in reverse.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so Anderson also said that to puppeteer in reverse, pulling
Oh
these
my
tentacles,
god, I can only imagine.
pushing them out. Also, everything's like slimy in
Ugh.
reverse.
Slimy reverse
yeah.
tentacles.
Yeah.
That's a lot to be
The way
dealing
those
with as
things
a
move is
puppeteer.
haunting.
Yeah.
I don't like how
Yeah.
fast they whip around. I have a problem. That's like my problem with spiders. I don't like how fast they move.
There's something about it that feels very like reminds me of like tiny little parasites,
yes.
you know?
Yes,
And
yes,
that
yes.
makes
Yes,
it all,
yes, yes.
all the creepier and
Very
grosser.
parasitic in a very
Yes.
visual
Yeah,
way.
visceral way
I
too.
do not like
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
Ugh.
same.
Ugh.
Yeah, so he said he had to wear a leather helmet to protect his head from because obviously there was like exploding things, so there was a lot of like danger on set
Oh
with
my
the
God.
puppeteering,
Great.
which I love. Another iconic SFX scene with the Charlie's chest bursting open.
So good.
So good. Yeah, the mouth
Very-
clamping down.
I-
Ugh.
oh.
Yeah. So the actor actually had obviously had a cast of his body. He said it really was his head and his arms laying there.
That makes
and that he said he was really creeped out though, because he said, I'm 50 something years old.
Right.
I have looked at my chest in the mirror
Yeah.
every fucking day. And he goes, they had my hair pattern of my chest hair down, and it was like super creepy. And people on set actually were like, put a shirt on that man.
That's
He's like, it's not me.
So
It's
frightening.
not even me.
That's so
I don't think I
frightening.
like that either. We're talking about
Ugh.
keeping ahead of ourselves. I would have to put
Yeah.
it away. I don't think I could look
Yeah,
at
what
it.
do you do with the torso of yourself with your exact chest hair pattern? Gross.
Yeah, so he was under the table, his little arms. So Rob talks about when they shot that. Obviously, there was like 10 hours of makeup involved in
Oh my
that.
God.
They, had to prep the body and
Yeah.
the mechanics to get it open, all these things. And they said when they went to go finally shoot that, so all this work
Mhm.
leading up to it, they went to go shoot it. Carpenter yelled cut and basically said it looks like a Las Vegas fountain.
Oh my
Because things were
God.
just shooting up in a way that they had not planned. Rob was like,
Oh
oh my God.
no.
And they
Oh,
were like,
that's
okay, we got to do that again.
heartbreaking.
And
Oh,
Rob's like,
no.
and they had to shoot it that night. And Rob's like, that took me like 10 hours to do.
Oh my God.
That chest burst open. That means we have to do another one.
No.
Like, that didn't work as planned.
Oh my God, what a nightmare.
They did end up redoing it, and they did get it in the second take.
Thank God. But still.
But I'm just like, imagine that whole setup and everything, and then they have to redo it.
Oh,
And that wasn't the only mishap.
oh God.
This one gets me. So all in the same sequence. So the guy is, I forget what his name is, but the guy's like head pulling up and then snapping off. And all the goo and stuff in that, which they said was
So
like
much goo.
melted plastic and like gum
Ew.
mixed together
Oh,
to get
that's
this like stretchy melt. I know, isn't that gross? So during one of the first takes of that, it actually accidentally exploded on
Oh my
set.
God.
And caught fire. And it's funny because like previously Rob was saying like you have to watch the Rob Bottin talking in these interviews is like a California long-haired like stoner like yeah like
love it.
talking about this stuff, and it's so cute to know he was also like 22 when this was happening. So he says like it exploded, it caught fire, and that the body took like a month to prep. So he's like watching this happen and like holy fucking shit. And Carpenter is like, are you gonna fucking put the thing out? Like, don't just stand there. Like, go
and he's
put out
like,
the flames. So that catches fire, explodes. They have to then redo that scene completely another day, I'm assuming. But just to note that all the sets that they had interior where they had fire, the sets were built 15 feet above, and they did have a fire department underneath.
Smart.
Which is like House of Wax, but they forgot that like the wax floor. So they did not have a wax floor.
Oh my God.
It did have a fire department. But also like the actors on set, when you see them putting out the fires, it really is like they were in charge of putting out those fires. So they would light things and it was up to the actors to put them out.
That's so scary.
I
On
know.
a 15 mil budget, I would expect them to have stunt coordinators for
Didn't
that
you just say
shit.
Carpenter had them just leak mercury out of fucking...
Yeah, good point.
Yeah,
Good
so
point.
he didn't
Herb
learn.
chef.
He clearly didn't care
Yeah.
then, and he didn't care for years.
Didn't care now. Yeah.
And some other fun little SFX bits and tids. The split face thing was originally based on a clay press actor, Robert Picardo, which is like, I forgot, I didn't write what he was in. I thought he was in this for some reason. I was like, that's hilarious. He's not, but he's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, weird.
Everyone can look it up. In the scene that is the kind of final confrontation with the thing, that big one,
yeah,
Tremors,
so satisfying.
50 technicians to operate that thing with all the different parts, which makes me wish that they
Showed it more. Yeah, that feels like so much for. Although I'm so glad that we don't see more. I think the less of it we see, the scarier it gets to remain. But man, is that a lot of people to bring in to barely show.
Yeah, and I wonder if it's like that whole sequence. So like from the tentacles to the dog to the, because again it's like puppeteering. I bet they had a bunch of hands and arms, and then the animatronics of the each.
That's a fair point. That would take a lot.
Yeah, so 50 technicians,
of manpower. Yeah,
worth it. But I wish they showed a little more. And then the tentacles that Clark sees in the dog cage are whips being maneuvered by Rob himself. So he's kind of moving those.
I'm wondering. Interesting.
Moving on a little bit to, I'm actually moving through this pretty fast.
Look at that.
Moving on to music, and I thought I was gonna take forever.
And I thought that I was going to take no time at all, and it was the exact opposite.
I feel like our brains know to like adjust.
Yeah. Even our smooth brains.
I'm talking very fast though, I feel like too. So moving on to some...
me last episode. Perfect.
I'm me also from last
episode. Good.
So moving on to music and sound, I just have a couple little things. So this is the first of John Carpenter's films that he did not score himself up until this point. The original choice composer for this was Jerry Goldsmith, but he passed, and Ennio Morricone, thank you, composed a very quiet Carpenter-like score, which feels very him. He said very brooding, menacing, and a lot of the bass chords that we know.
I love that refrain that's just like the same bass note played twice. Like boom, 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 boom.
It sounds like...
It's like a heartbeat.
Because I was going to say, it kind of reminds, it's like a thudding even in your head. Yeah, like that blood heartbeat. When you get like really nervous, you ever get that like where you can really hear your heartbeat? Or even like
it's
I thought...
ringing in your ears, yeah.
Or echoing from like if you make a noise out in spaces like that, I feel like they come back in a really weird way.
Yeah.
So I love that though. I don't know why I've always thought of it as an elemental.
I love it.
So
I mean, I think it's both. It's all of the above. It's all the above, baby.
All the above, baby. Some of the unused music composed for this film was later used by Ennio in Quentin Tarantino's 2015 The Hateful Eight, which is funny because The Thing was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Score, and Hateful Eight won an Oscar
for Best Score. That's so funny.
One person's trash, baby.
So tracks.
Well,
and it kind of goes to what Carpenter was saying in the quote that I pulled about, like Mickey Mousing versus.
I've never heard that before, and I love
it's
that.
so good, and like exactly what he means by it. Yeah, but this is so understated and withdrawn, and I think that that's very much a style that has become more popular in the wake of movies like The Thing that was very much not popular at the time that he was making this.
Yeah, there's a lot more space. It makes sense though to imagine if these scores were reversed, and it's just like it
Yeah.
really would have. Yeah, it just would have been a whole different vibe. This needed space because there was still so much action in this, but I feel
There's
like
so
your
much,
frames were
yeah.
so full,
True.
it just would have felt
True.
empty in a way. You
Yeah,
know, like it was missing
yeah.
something. So, but I think that was so funny that they just
That
used
it's
the
reversed.
scraps and
Yeah.
it won an Oscar from it.
That's so interesting.
Good on him for reusing stuff.
Yeah.
A couple.
Don't delete your work. when
Honestly,
you
don't. You
think
never
that you've
know.
Not got the right thing to use it
Yeah.
for. The right thing may come along another time.
Yeah, it might inspire you in a different way. Like
Mhm.
especially like as creators to step away
Yeah.
from your stuff. Sometimes you gotta put it down.
It's so
like creating
true.
posters sometimes gotta
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
I can't fucking think of a goddamn thing. Then the next day I'm like, ooh, look at all
Look
these
at
things. You're like,
that.
actually that was a good idea.
Yep.
So a couple more little sound tids. The sound effect for the wind was actually recorded in the desert of Palm Springs. Which it gets pretty
Pretty
whooshy
windy.
out there.
Heard.
And then sound editor Colin Mott achieved the dog's cries in the film by rounding up all the neighborhood dogs, placing them in a house.
Oh my god.
And basically like stalking around in a dark trench coat
Oh
with
my
his collar up,
God,
like
that's so
rattling
frightening.
doors and like scaring them. And I feel so
Oh, the poor puppies.
bugs and yours, and the poor puppies got
Oh,
traumatized.
That's so mean.
yeah. Also the one
Yeah.
that gets shot at in the cage too with the liquid. I'm like,
I
ooh,
feel
he doesn't look
bad.
happy.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I feel bad. I hope they give him lots of treats.
I know. Poor baby.
Oh my god, we're rounding the end. I thought I was gonna have.
Look at that.
I mean, we are like clocking 60 minutes here. But
It's
critics
the
and
thing. It
reviews-
merits it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't put a lot of stuff in here. I don't know because I didn't think I'd have time. The producers kind of said they attributed the low box office performance from the audience's desire for more benign interpretation of alien presence on
Mhm.
Earth, mainly due to, like I said, E.T. that had released
Mhm.
weeks prior. I just sometimes, damn, the luck of where your film
It's
gets
so
released, it could just
true,
get
yeah.
buried. But I think it's like safe to say this film has an extremely significant impact on
Yeah.
horror,
Everything.
gore, special
Yeah.
effects, like you were saying earlier, like
Yeah.
the amount of these creatures. I think the work that Rob really put into design these within a comic book artist, like it
Yeah.
all just the imagery of this is
It's so precise.
insane.
It very much is on like the alien caliber in terms of, creature design that really gives you something that is unique and fresh
Mhm.
and specific to this world.
Yeah.
And that is a hard thing to do
Yeah.
at any budget, let
Yeah.
alone, if they only at first gave you 200,000 to do your special effects with. That's
I gotta
so
find out if anyone
insane.
knows actually of
I'm-
what they
Oh
actually
my
ended
god,
up
I'm
getting.
so curious. I'm
Because
so curious.
what a fucking asshole move
insane.
to give. It's like,
Yeah.
I love how everyone was like, absolutely fucking
no,
not.
sir. No.
Yeah. So
Priorities.
I think I mentioned it like in an off conversation that season 1, episode 8 of The X-Files has a direct homage to this. It's one of my favorite
very
episodes
cool.
because of that.
Tracks.
It literally is the same thing.
Yep, that tracks.
yeah,
That
it's great.
100% tracks.
The Sci-Fi Channel planned to make a 4-hour miniseries in 2003, but
Oh.
nothing came of it.
Interesting.
But we did get, which we were talking here on our break, that in
Mhm.
2011 they did produce The Thing, which was a prequel that leaves directly off, which I did see and I
Starts
do
with
want to
the
revisit it
Norwegians.
because I enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's
For someone who loves The Thing so much, I really enjoyed. We were talking about like prequels that kind of lead right up into that point.
Yeah, I think
Or
that's
pick up after.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like anything that is temporally continuous with the story, where it continues like that is so
We
satisfying.
don't do that as much anymore. I said we really
Yeah.
did that in like the mid 2000s. One last fun fact I'll leave you with. In August of 2003, a couple of super fans,
Mhm.
Todd Cameron and Steve Crawford, actually
Uh-huh.
took a trip to the remote filming location in Stewart, British Columbia,
Aw.
and found the remains of Outpost 31 and the Norwegian helicopter. I'm like, did they just leave all their shit
That's
there?
so
That
fun.
sucks.
Yeah, they were
and they-
just from the 80s.
they're-
they were
we're
just like,
good.
yeah, we'll come back and clean
Is
it
it
up
wild?
sometime, and then
Yeah.
just like completely forgot, walked
helicopter
away,
hanging out.
left. Yeah,
Imagine walking up on that and like not knowing. Just on a
God.
hike.
yeah, you'd be convinced that something horrible had
Yeah.
happened. Yeah,
There's just blood everywhere.
Yeah.
Burn bodies. But they took a rotor blade from the helicopter, and Todd Cameron still has it in his collection of
my
memorabilia
God.
for the
Oh my
Thing.
god, that's a
Which I want to see this dude's fucking collection.
That's a
so.
pretty good piece of memorabilia.
Yeah.
If you can get that fucking airplane or propeller, that's
Imagine just them walking off like this glacier. Be
that's
like,
got to be so heavy
sup,
too.
yeah.
My
But like
god.
no one goes up that road, so it was just like for a mining.
That's so funny.
little
They're like,
mining
who's
area.
gonna care?
Mhm. No one. The props left behind.
That's so
Anybody's.
funny.
So
Man.
that is the thing.
Oh
I
my
should take off
God.
this hat now.
No, you shouldn't. I think we've got to keep the hat on through the end of the episode at the very
Okay.
least. We're so close, Al.
Hold up.
We've got to
well, that was-
commit to the bit.
I know. I think I'm just sweating. I really tried to barrel through that one. That was fun. I'm glad we got to watch Prince of Darkness and finally talk about this film. But
Yeah,
like
this
Prince of
was-
Darkness was the highlight
I'm
for
so
me.
glad. Me
I
too,
think.
obviously,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. But I'm
Yeah.
glad that you enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
because it very much. I had no idea how you were going to feel about it. I was like, Al's either going to love this or hate this. There's going to be nothing in the middle.
Yeah, the originality for me and the gore.
yeah.
And again, it was like a hard. I want to watch it again. I think I'll like it even
Mhm.
more.
Yeah, I think it will
I
only
had to think
grow
about
on
it.
me with time.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
man, did I love it.
That's
What would you rate these?
Oh, tens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Two tens.
Yeah.
Two paradigms.
Yeah, for sure. Two paradigms.
Paradigms. Yeah. No, I feel like I can't say Prince of Darkness is a perfect movie, but
No,
man,
it's
is
really
it.
not. I'm gonna say
Yeah.
that there were a lot of like again the certain elements
Yeah.
of it and the.
But like I would
meddling.
personally still give it like a 4.5.
Mm.
Like it's that good for
yeah,
me. Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah.
Way better than I thought, and I kind of want to dive into more Carpenter. Like
Yeah.
not as known for me, I should say.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and especially because it does also have that touch of goofiness that you were
Mhm.
talking
Oh my
about.
God,
It's
a lot of characters.
silly. It doesn't take itself too seriously.
A lot of inappropriate jokes, I would say.
Yeah.
Wasn't really a fan of a lot of those.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
watch
There's
with
that.
caution.
There is
but,
But worth watching.
Yeah,
Worth
for sure.
watching for sure. And do we want to tell people what we're doing for our next episode?
we said me and Siena got in our first fight, which
We
wasn't really a
did.
fight.
Yeah.
I think me
It
and
was
Siena
like
didn't
the
agree for the first time
mildest
ever.
Calmest disagreement.
I was just trying to be nice to each other the whole time.
We both.
But I actually think this will be a good.
It'll be a
thing.
good test. Yeah.
And you
yeah.
can.
We'll make you all fight it
yeah,
out.
yeah, you
for
guys can
us.
fight about it. Not us. I don't want to fight with you. That sounds
Same.
awful.
Well,
We know one, so we're doing one film that we know.
yeah, we're
For sure.
we're definitely doing American Psycho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Al wants to pair this with The Orphan from 2009, which
Yes, I do. One, because I'm gonna give my reasons before, and
give
then
your
we'll
reasons
post
before.
a
Yeah, I love
poll.
it. I love it.
So
Give yourself
one,
the best case you possibly can here, Al.
one because I really want to do it. Two,
That's
because
the real reason.
it's a
let's
real
be
reason,
honest.
truly. Two, because it takes place around the holidays ish, and it's going to be our December release, and so
Mhm.
I thought like those two. I thought they're both kind of these like literal psychopaths who go on a killing spree, and they're not really who they present to the outside world. Sienna doesn't agree with me, so we're gonna post a poll if you guys want us to do that or recommend a different film
'Cause
for
I think
us,
we're-
because I think we're open, but I would like to do something that either kind of is tonally good with. Also, you got to think it's a me pick. Don't give me anything that is Sienna go to please, because
yeah, it's got to be an Al pick.
I got confused where the Antarctic is. So and I'm wearing this dumb fucking hat about it too. God, I had to be wearing this fucking hat while I was
Yes,
doing
of
that.
course you
Ugh.
did.
Anyways, so we're gonna ask you guys maybe what you think would pair well with it, or like a holiday-y pick. We are
Yeah.
gonna do more like Christmassy themed, holiday themed
Mhm.
for the episode after
the one that's coming out on the 23rd.
Yeah.
So this one is more just like a Yuletide, if you will.
yeah, anything kind of snowy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Question. So we're gonna put it on you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
'Cause we don't
you
want to
can
make the
fight for
decision.
us.
Yeah, you can fight.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight with Sienna. That
I
sucks.
desperately want to watch and cover both movies. I just think they're an odd combination.
The Odd Couple.
They're Which
I don't
maybe,
disagree
maybe y'all are
on
into
that.
that. Maybe
Yeah.
that's the fun.
Yeah, so
maybe
let
I'm
us know.
missing out on the fun.
Yeah.
Let us know. Come yell at us.
Yeah, you guys can yell at us.
You can yell at us so we don't yell at each other. How about that? Yeah.
Imagine we yelled at each other. That'd be awful.
Oh God. I don't want to be on your bad side, Al. That sounds so scary.
Yeah, I don't think either of us want to be on each other's bad sides.
No. Oh.
That would be atrocious.
Oh.
It'd be like Godzilla and King Kong fighting.
Who's who?
Until then, thanks for. What are you
did
guys
you guys-
giggling at?
What was
We're gonna
that?
fight with you.
What was that? We're live on air. We need to hear it.
Until then.
Thanks,
for listening.
Thanks, you guys who won't tell us what you're laughing about behind our
Oh yeah,
backs.
thanks, Warren.
Thanks, Warren.
Travis. Theo, actually, thank you because you're awesome. You don't
Genuine
cause any
thank you to
trouble.
Theo Schaefer, who's a perfect baby angel. Never made a joke at our expense a day in his life.
Thanks for listening to Splice Splatter.
The film podcast presented by the Jean Cocteau Cinema in Santa Fe, New Mexico, where classic horror.
It's modern gore.
And until next time, we'll be right back.